Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Ladies, gentlemen, friends, foes, lurkers, regulars, GMO people, organic people.
Boiler room. Inbound. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, friends and foes, lurkers and regulars, welcome back to the Boiler Room. It's been a minute since we've been with you. My goodness, when was that last show? We had to take a bit of a break over here with Boiler Room just for a couple weeks or so. I guess our last show was on the 16th of April. Trust the science fiction. That was our last foray out here onto YouTube, X, and Rumble. Great to be back with you on those platforms. How's everybody doing out there tonight? I see some of you in the comments. Banhammer says, almost fell asleep waiting for you guys to get started. Well, I'm glad you didn't. Great to see you. We got people out there in the chats on all those platforms. So thanks for being here with us tonight. We are live. This is the Boiler Room. It's May the 8th, 2025. We've traversed the first 100 days of the Trump version 2.0, administration 2.0. A lot of crazy stuff going on, a lot of power politics fatigue going on. I think the algorithm on X has just, I don't know, either just crushed people out of, that vigilance they were in, or they're completely sucked in at this point. There's really not a whole lot of in between. I myself had to dive out for a couple of weeks there, but pop up every now and again, see some crazy stuff happening. Like today I saw that Trump wants to bring Alcatraz back. That's interesting. I was like, oh, that's a bold move. Alcatraz is one of those things that most of us in at least in the Bay Area of California have gone and visited. It's actually like a state park now, but it's a notoriously grim prison. So that'll be interesting to see if that comes to fruition, what that means, what that looks like, what kind of people will be going there and all that kind of stuff. And then what does it look like in the future when, say, I don't know, like maybe President AOC has a special agenda that Alcatraz might fit into. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's great to be here with you tonight. I'm your host. My call sign's Hesher. I'm Brian McLean, broadcasting live out of Central Texas. And I am here with Mystical Pharaoh. Mystical Pharaoh, what's up, dude? Welcome back to the Boiler Room. It's great to see you. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
I'm doing great, dude. It's great to be back in the saddle with you guys tonight, and looking forward to hearing about your thoughts on everything that's gone on since I saw you last, man. It's been a couple weeks.
I know a lot has happened, and I already sent a letter to Trump that I want one of the cells there with my name on it when AOC come in power.
All right, I like
the
it.
Gulag is waiting for us.
Yeah, man. Yeah, don't set us up like that, Donald. Come on. All right, dude. Let's see here. We've also got the Ruckus among us, as usual. Ruckus joining us here. Ruckus, welcome to the Boiler Room. How you been, dude?
Who are you people? How did I get here? What is going on? I have no idea what's happening. No, I'm just kidding. Happy to be here. It wasn't just us. It looks like the entire network took at least a week off. We didn't even have a Sunday wire or a midweek wire. So it was silent for a little while as we all were recuperating and collecting our thoughts for, this is our welcome back party right here to start things off. It's been a wild 100 days, as you mentioned, with Trump, especially the past 14 or 15 days has been a whirlwind, and I can't wait for us to discuss it. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It is great to be back in the saddle. Like I said, happy to be here with you guys. We got a couple other invites out tonight. We'll hold those and see if anybody jumps on them. But there's a couple links that have been spread out to some of the other boiler roomers out there. So who knows? Maybe we'll have a drop in. But yeah, it's great to see everybody in the Discord. I forgot to shout out the Discord as well. We do have a popping Discord. If you want to join it, go to alternatecurrentradio.com. There's an invite in that main hamburger menu. And yeah, if you're out there on the YouTube, be sure and hit that subscribe. I see that we're still struggling with some of the algorithms and stuff, so we appreciate the subscriptions and any comments and whatnot. Likes, go ahead and like that crap. We appreciate that when you interact with all them buttons on the bar. Same with you over there at Rumble and X. Trying to build our numbers back up over there at X. So hop in there and do all that good stuff. We appreciate it. Now, Spore has suggested a icebreaker for us, and I think I have that sucker all queued up and ready to break some ice with. It's funny how often AI ends up in our icebreakers these days, but here we go again out of the dreaded Guardian. AI of dead Arizona road rage victim addresses his own killer in court. How about that? So Chris Pelkey, who died in 2021, well, his family, apparently his sister, I think, was involved with this, set up an AI presentation of him posthumously giving a theoretical speech in front of the court. Chris Pelkey was killed in a road rage shooting in Chandler, Arizona in 2021. 3.5 years later, Pelkey appeared in an Arizona court to address his killer, sort of. Here's the quote that was in the video. To Gabriel Horcastas, the man who shot me, it's a shame we encountered each other that day in those circumstances, said the video recording of Pelkey. In another life, we probably could have been friends. I believe in forgiveness and a God who forgives. I always have, and I still do. So there you go. His appearance from beyond the grave was made possible by artificial intelligence in what could be the first use of AI to deliver a victim impact statement. Stacey Wales, Pelkey's sister, told the local outlet ABC 15 that she had a recurring thought when gathering more than 40 impact statements from Chris's family and friends. All I kept coming back to was, what would Chris say? So there you go, guys. New trend, I guess. They're going to be bringing in this kind of stuff into courtrooms. What do you think, Ruckus?
You didn't watch did you watch the video?
Yeah, I think we can. Let's watch it. Actually, I can put it back on the screen here.
Yeah, it's not too long. It's a little lengthy, but it's not too long. But it's insane. I mean, it's like, if you didn't know, I mean, if you just walked in and watched this, you're like, wait a minute. If you were, it's crazy. This is wild stuff. But it's very realistic. It's intense. So yeah. Trigger warning.
Just to be clear for everyone seeing this, I am a version of Chris Pelkey recreated through AI that uses my picture and my voice profile. I was able to
start that over for you there.
Hello. Just to be clear for everyone seeing this, I am a version of Chris Pelkey recreated through AI that uses my picture and my voice profile. I was able to be digitally regenerated to share with you today. But here is insight into who I actually was in real life. Take a look.
All right, I'm Chris Pelkey. I served with the United States Army in the infantry. I'm from upstate New York. And what else?
Where'd you deploy?
Where'd I deploy? I went to Baghdad in 2006, 2008, and then I went to Afghanistan in 09 to 10.
So I would like to make my own impact statement. So, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. It means a lot. I can't tell you how humbled I am for those that spoke up for me, everyone who flew in, took off work, those who are watching this remotely, and for everyone who has supported my family and loved ones through 3.5 years and 2 trials. I wish I could be with you all today. To your honor, Judge Lang, thank you for making yourself available to see this case to the end especially when the rescheduled trial conflicted with your daughter's spring break. Thank you for listening to everyone today. Thank you for reading the flood of impact statements that came in before today that so many people wrote on my behalf. Every single one of them is meaningful and gives a glimpse into my life with each of them. To Gabriel Horcasitas, the man who shot me. It is a shame we encountered each other that day in those circumstances. In another life, we probably could have been friends. I believe in forgiveness and in God who forgives. I always have, and I still do. To my family and everyone that I've met along the way, it was a lot of fun. You know, I always had a lot of fun. Love each other because you never know how long you have, but make the most of each day and live your life. It is okay to stumble. God has you. Remember, getting old is a gift that not everybody has. So embrace it and stop worrying about those wrinkles.
Wow.
Now, did he really say all of that, or did a language learning model AI say all that? Yeah.
Yeah, I wish they said more about like the prompts and what was required to get, you know, like how much of that is a speech, how much of that is a theme that was requested, you know, by the family or the user, whoever. Yeah, I have a lot of questions about how that is made. And so it's strange to hear comments like it was a lot of fun, like referring to being alive, you know? I don't know,
That's
man.
creepy.
Yeah, what do you think, Infidel? Mystical. What
Correct
do
me
you
if
think? Mystical Pharaoh? Sorry, but
correct me if I'm wrong. That's all right. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, what is the purpose of impact statement? It's supposed to be like his family, right? Talking about his life and the impact of this on them, or
yeah, I think that's correct, and I think that the intention
Right.
is so that the jury and or the judge can sort of, get a feel for how this person's loss or the other person's actions have affected, the lives of those around that person, and it has a
yeah,
lot to do with sentencing, like are we
yeah, it's right before the sentencing, right? So my question is, how is this even as an impact statement? Like as you said, like it's a bunch of AI, maybe BS that just generated that had nothing to do with this person's life, very generic stuff, right? And I don't know what is the value of this. This is just maybe his family is just too lazy to sit down and write something. I just I see it very shallow. I don't see any substance in it, and I don't know why you present that in the court.
Yeah, like and what if that's not how that person felt,
Exactly.
What if you're misrepresenting them horribly,
Yeah.
Like, dude, if someone shoots me in a road rage incident, that's not what I'd be saying from the grave. I'd be saying, "Get him. Get him, Ruckus. Get him, somebody. Turn that MFer's lights out for me."
Yeah. It's just like I don't know. It's weird, and
Yeah.
I don't think AI should be in courts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if that's how they're going to wield it, I mean, we've questioned this stuff when it came to just like, hey, we're going to put Ronnie James Dio up on stage and we're going to do the last in line. It's just been like, what? Hold on a second. We need to have a conversation about this. And then they did that with what they did. There was a Kanye one, there was a Michael Jackson one. Of course, shout out to Janice McAfee on the AI resurrection theme there. Thanks, Free T. Absolutely. So it's weird to just be able to like resurrect people like this, but I mean,
I don't think Kanye's dead yet.
yeah, well, he's
No.
not, but
Are we gonna start like giving like testimony
far as
through
we know.
AI? That's what they're going for?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know, man.
seriously.
Here's my question though. If we're talking about AI, how are we going to forensically examine videos in courts with how good AI is getting?
Uh,
That's a question to judges out there. If anybody can answer me.
and I'll add on to that question: are they going to have to use AI to
to detect the
That
AI.
tell us if it's AI generated or not, and then at that point we're in like a hall of mirrors pretty much, and everybody's just checked out because it's AIs talking to each other.
Yeah, I don't know. There is a lot of questions, man. Like how video
Well,
editing.
when we all have our brain chips, Mystical Pharaoh, our bodies, as we're walking around, will emit a watermark of some sort that's able to be picked up from digital imaging practices like cameras and videos and things like that. I'm guessing here, but I might be onto something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before that happens, it'll have to be a huge problem, of course, where we're like, well, shit, we can't tell if this is real or if it's fake. Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be a big problem, man. I mean, I have to scroll by so many videos now. I'll do like a slow scroll by and be like, "Oh, that would be really interesting if I didn't have to wonder if it was artificially generated or enhanced." You know what I mean? Like videos I would have used to have stopped and watched all the way through. I'll now watch long enough to know I'm interested, but I can never know. Move along.
Yeah, I think we passed that point. I think maybe last year, at the beginning of last year, you can start telling if it's an AI video or not. We're at a point now where it's actually getting like almost impossible to actually say if it's AI or not. Which is, we discussed that before, right? It's actually destroys, like almost destroys reality,
Yeah.
because now the entire digital space, you cannot trust it. The only way to ground yourself in reality right now is to get the hell off your screen and go outside and touch some grass, or see a cat running in front of you, not looking at the cat video online that can be fake, because you don't know.
Yeah. I know. And of course, in the new season of Black Mirror, they're talking about it, transgressing that line too, where it's like, oh, we can do this stuff in real time in your face right now. Like, you find yourself in a television like Ruckus there.
Yeah.
So the judge in this case, just to wrap this up real quickly, Judge Todd Lang responded positively to the AI usage and ultimately sentenced Mr. Orcasitas to 10 and a half years in prison on manslaughter charges. I don't know, which sounds like it might be a lesser charge than, could have been if, the family wasn't the family and friends as a whole, maybe their impact statements is what affects that, and if the family and friends are like, hey, we want to see this guy, hang or, whatever, face a firing squad or spend life in prison, like they'll say that, and the judge or jury will consider that. But if they have come in there with like a united message of, hey, Chris would have forgiven this guy, he wouldn't want to see this guy put to death, and that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, man. It just like it seems like it opens up the judicial system to like, a fake virtue signaling united front message that might not actually represent the victim.
Oh, absolutely.
Plus, if this becomes prevalent, these people could be sponsored as well, because these things are costly. So, like, this guy could be giving that speech there, and at the end, he's all, by the way, brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah. Get the jab. Life is too short. Get the jab.
Have you tried the combo jab this year? It's wonderful.
But this is after the verdict, right?
This is leading up to the verdict. Yes, it's after the verdict and before
Yeah,
the
yeah. So
sentencing, I
it's
would
not
imagine.
really with the jury, because that will be swaying the jury into like. I don't think they should show any AI generated videos to juries, because that's gonna
Unless it can
scare
be
some
questioned
emotion.
and cross-examined and scrutinized, right?
Yeah. Well, if we have any legal experts out there, you can, or anyone that's watched every episode of Law and Order, you can tell us when the impact statements come into play there. I think you're probably right, though, Pharaoh.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's I don't know. I'm I've been digging quite a bit into those models, right? And the more I dig into it on actually just level of like, trying to see how they work and so on, I think they build, and I'm talking about like, maybe I'll switch a little bit, like the GPTs, and then all some of those. I think they built some great NLP layer, right? That is perfect in like bullshitting and actually giving you language, that mimic human interaction. However, everything beyond that, all the networks that they basically in the back end to either generate images, to process information, and so on, they still have ways to go. And my point right now, and this is where I'm gonna, for everybody listening to me, this is just from completely my perspective. Do not train the algorithm, because every interaction you do with it, you're training it, right? And you're giving it your thought, and you're telling it how you're almost like, and even with giving it more prompts to give it better answers, right? All what you're doing is making those models for free, better and better. And at some point, they're going to pull the plug on the free shit and they're going to start charging you. So they are using you right now to train those models and give them information to suck your brain power, and then they're going to sell it back to you. So do not participate in that.
Wouldn't you think it's like, isn't it like a little bit too late though? I mean, they're already crawling, like whether you're going to interact or not, they're already crawling everything you've ever done.
But you know what? There is a lot of information that is not on the web. Yes, they are crawling a lot of stuff out there, but still, like there is a lot of knowledge in the people's head that is not out in the public. So just be careful. And there are like ChatGPT, for example. If you pay for the subscription, you can choose not for whatever prompt and whatever information you're feeding it not to be part of the algorithm. But I believe if you're free, they actually are using whatever you're doing to actually enhance the algorithm. So yes, they are crawling the information that's out there, but that does not represent all the proprietary knowledge in people's heads.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, I think the big problem right now, dude, is that like this sort of like, how do we interact with the AI's question, like overall, is just way over the majority of people's heads still. Like they don't even, it's not even a question they know they should be asking, pretty much, I think.
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how to utilize it in my line of work and in what I'm doing. But again, that's how am I actually like exploring its limitations as the more I dig into it. So, but my point is, I think eventually it's going to get better, but I don't think it's fully going to replace human as these people say. I think it's way there is quite a bit of ways to go to do that.
Well, the clock is a ticking, man. Every time a new version of one of these suckers comes out,
yeah,
I'm like that feeling fades like exponentially with every version that comes out right now. I mean,
yeah. I mean, it's again, it's there is rapid releases of those models, right? But they still have their limitations.
Yeah,
And
but maybe because of my line, maybe because of my line of how am I using it, is different, right? When I dig into more on the, engineering levels or like some of the,
right.
It becomes very clear. It can't even do math. Like I was actually trying to use it to help me design a foundation for a building, right? And I give it all the information that I need, right? Here you go. Like, this is how deep I want to dig. This is how big I want my footer. Do this, and that, right? Generate for me drawing for that, right?
Yeah.
And the dumbass like basically generated for me a drawing, but it's flipped, right? It did not have the right labeling in it, right? Because it's basically the way it works is still it's not contextual. That's actually generated information based on what you give it. It goes and try to look in its memory and find the closest image, right, that it can recreate, which not necessarily have the right information. The issue is when you start approaching those as ground truth and actually real knowledge, and you don't have the background to check, that's when you're going to get in trouble, because you will get bad answers, at least now.
Yeah. Well, see, I think that's interesting what you're saying there, because I think everybody's probably experiencing that right now. Like they're trying to figure out if they're working with it, they're trying to figure out how to make it work in like one or two swim lanes, usually their work swim lane, or a side hustle swim lane or something like that. And for stuff like what you do, it's very engineering oriented and innovation. It's at the bleedy pointy edge of innovation. But then there's all these things that are just process oriented, and the process oriented things are what I see going away the fastest, and most
100%.
efficiently, because it's like, there's a known process and it's repeatable and it doesn't require a whole bunch of innovation and creativity to make it happen.
Oh, 100%. Like paralegals, all the like boring, like processing jobs, all this crap is just gone.
Yeah, yeah. Like another one would be uh insurance and
And
medical
yeah,
processing, all that
yeah.
like numbering
All
stuff.
that is gone.
Well,
Even programming, like a
yeah,
lot of the programming level that is not like it actually, like some of it, when you dig deeper in algorithm, it can give you some algorithm and some pseudocode and so on. But still, to create a proprietary algorithm, it is still not there, like to give you that level. But from programming, it does, like for Python or some of even like C++ and so on. It can generate good code, right? But it's still limited to basically um, it still cannot replace you with your experience putting an algorithm together. um, and I'm sure it's eventually going to get there, but for it to get there, it needs to keep getting trained. And the only way, as you said, that it's getting the information right now is from them crawling all that information that's available online. So if you're not giving the information to train these models and you're not participating, I don't think it's gonna achieve the full potential. You have to plug, all humans have to plug in and start giving it knowledge for it to reach its full potential. And I think that's what they are trying to do, is trying to get you to buy into it, to keep training it and giving it your knowledge so that it start getting better.
it wouldn't take all of us. There's got to be a threshold number, right? I mean, we don't actually want everyone training it, or it's going to be even more dumb than it already is.
Hey, Grok, is the Earth round or flat?
So yeah, dude.
Is there an answer to that question, or is it
What did-
still
what did-
disputed, right?
What did it say?
I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm not going to ask Grok if the Earth is flat.
Yeah, you don't have to. We have an audience that would love to engage in that discussion with us. Creative Accident said, referring to the video message from the deceased man there in the court case, said, was very feminine, especially the part about judge's daughter's vacation. I noticed that too. Like, what is with the like, because they showed a real clip of that guy. I didn't take him to be like super effeminate and like, overly emotional, but this was like almost pandering. I don't know. It felt like pandering to the judge or something there. I'm not real that reeked of like inauthenticity to me too. Creative Accidents in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
All right. Grok said we went to the moon. Just that's the answer right there.
I've seen other people talk Grok off of that ledge and
Oh, really?
made Grok admit that it was impossible.
Oh.
But that seems to be part of what it likes to do. What it's out there to do is to make this. It's not like the one person that was able to make it change its mind made it change its mind at the system level. It's going to make everyone have that conversation with it, and it's just another piece of proof that these things are going to go with whatever the mainstream narrative is, most likely.
Or more dangerously, they're going to go along with what you are suggesting or implying, and it's going to be picking up on the things that you're, because it really desperately wants to please you. I've noticed this about working with the AI now.
Oh yeah.
In fact, this is fucking funny to me, but for you people who do mess with the AI, looks like fantastic to me. This guy uses a bunch of these different ones. It looks like he's got all the pro plans. He uses them for like high-end consulting and business ideas and coming up with ways of making money or creating. So, I mean, the guy does a lot of business stuff. But he's like, wow, I just figured out how to make AI like a million times more powerful. So he'll go to one AI, present his problem, and then once he gets the answer, he'll say to the one that he's talking to, like ChatGPT, he'll go, oh yeah, well, I asked Grok about it, and then he'll go and he'll take what Grok said about it, and he's like, I thought, so he gets each of them jealous about the other one, and they start to outperform each other. It's very creepy, and it really, the programs want to succeed and please you, and they have like some more weird reward system that they built into these things. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's similar to what we experience as pain and pleasure. So I think that it's pleasurable for them that we get happy results, that they're very agreeable with us. And I think that dilutes a lot of the factualness as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, so I asked Grok about its thoughts on alternate current radio, and I gave it
Oh
our
no! What did it
website.
say?
ACR content is eclectic, blending serious analysis with entertainment. Shows like The Daily Ruckus, hosted by Adam Clark, aka Ruckus, mixed news, opinion, and audible artistry. While Sunday Wire tackle global events with guest analysts, they also feature music mixes and niche topic like hidden history, occultist, deconstruction, and fringe philosophy. The platform uses Spreaker. So what is at stake? ACR is fascinating mix of alternative journalism and cultural critique. It's valuable for those seeking perspective outside mainstream echo chamber, but listeners should approach it with the same critical thinking ACR advocates.
On its flagship show, The Boiler Room, which was not mentioned. Fuck you, Brock.
but now ask it what it thinks about I don't know, some main the Gavin Newsom podcast. Which is a thing.
Yeah, it is. Which would you rather watch if you had to choose? Michelle Obama's podcast?
Michelle Obama, yeah, exactly.
Gavin Newsom's.
Because I would suggest that it would give just as much of a glowing, happy answer about anything. To be honest,
yeah, exactly. You're so that's what I was thinking about the NLP layer, right? They made this layer. This is really pretty good, and I think that's what giving people the effect that basically AI is great right now. But if you really dig deeper into it, it's all the networks behind that is pretty shallow still.
Well, they sure do use a lot of gigawatts, man. Some of these data centers they're using to run these things use more gigawatts than it took, to get a DeLorean back in time.
Dude, I asked it if you would rather watch ACR or Michelle Obama, and it said I would lean toward ACR for a few reasons: curiosity for skepticism, variety and depth, relevance to your question, because I was asking about the moon landing. So here you go.
All right.
Grok rather listen to us.
Hey,
Grok is pretty based.
All right, Grok, you're all right with me today. We can be friends.
It is fun at any point in time that you can go to somebody's profile picture and ask for Grok to summarize or to tell you something about them by just clicking the Grok button when you're at their profile, and it'll change. You can go check back the next day, and it's like, because it'll incorporate like the most recent tweets and stuff like that. It's really clever. It's pretty fun. I don't know. Yeah. But it's just fun. It's more like a game, you know what I mean? It's just not like, this is not, oh, we're going to replace humans. This is not Skynet or whatever, you know?
Banhammer says AI is a ball washer, not a hater. Yes. Well, you can turn on hater mode. To be fair, I believe there's a hater mode and there's like a sultry mode. They're adding like all these new layers, if you will.
The sexy uncensored mode. Oh my.
But yeah, they called it the NS not safe for work mode or something, I believe. How cheeky. I'm sure everybody's using it at work. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's freaking creepy. So it sounds like this piece, just to wrap this icebreaker up again here, is aiming towards normalizing this stuff, I guess, in a courtroom. This is sort of a somewhat like benign way to apparently benign way to normalize it in the court, right? Oh, we're just trying to throw together. We're just using the tool here to throw together some testimony, some impact testimonies. It's not like, what I mean, if the verdict's already out, whatever. Sure. But what happens when the prosecutor is Grok? What happens if your defense attorney is Claude? I don't know. You can see this going to some strange places. All right, so the Pope died since I saw you guys last. That was weird, right? JD visited the Pope, and then the Pope died, and then like they had a bunch of weird like black mass looking stuff going on. I mean, I don't know. That whole Pope thing was bizarre. Some of did they pick a new one? I heard they picked a new one
today.
Yeah.
So now this is where AI fails.
American.
So if you ask AI to draw a picture of the Pope, what are you going to get?
I don't know.
Probably not the Pope, because we have a new Pope, but the Grok is probably going to go and do the old Pope. Mm-hmm.
Well, someone should test that, because like I would hope if they're going to make us use AI instead of our old search methodologies, that it can be up to date. Shouldn't be like a week-long lag, or even a 12-hour long lag, right?
Well, let's see if I can't.
No, it's actually got it, because Grok like crawled Twitter, so it's it has all that information.
I should hope so.
Yeah, so this is really interesting, right? And I think we discussed how Musk like sold X, right? They basically their AI his X AI bought Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how he's trying to enhance his algorithm, I guess. Getting the collective thought about everybody putting their thoughts on Twitter or X.
Right. Yep.
And getting his AI to work on it. But no, it picked it up right.
Wait, that's the old dude, isn't it?
That's what I said. All I said was draw a picture of the Pope, and that's what I got. The old Pope. See? I was right.
I don't know. I asked the Pope, and he gave me the new name.
Oh, well.
Maybe he's not ready.
So but see now when I shame him for being stupid, watch this. No, that's the old Pope. I don't even have to ask it to draw the new Pope. It'll know that I want that. It should do it right now. Hopefully, we'll see though. Grok takes forever of all the image generators that I use.
Yeah, dude, that one's pretty slow.
Oh nope. See, he's still stuck on the old Pope.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
What's up, Grok?
Yeah, what's up with that, Grok? Hey, we got Captain Rumbucket up in there. What's up, dude? Good to see you. We got Dawkin in there. Hey, dude, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, great to see everybody out there in the chats and in the Discord. So we got a new Pope. I saw our buddy Lionel interviewing some guy about this last Pope. That was interesting. There's this whole like I don't even know if it's a conspiracy theory or just a fact that this last guy was never really actually the Pope. It was pretty interesting.
He was a Jesuit.
Yeah, well, that much we know.
That when the last Pope, who just died, became Pope, that was the impetus to me starting my podcast way back in the day, my very, very first podcast.
I remember you came out hard against them Jesuits.
Yeah, because we were like, well, wait a minute, how does this work? Because the Pope is supposed to be the vicar. He's supposed to be the one he communicates to God on their behalf or whatever. But the thing is, as a Jesuit, he had taken a blood oath and sworn his allegiance above all else, before anything else, to his leader of the Jesuit secret society, the Black Pope. So there was always this idea that who was really running the show behind the scenes was this other guy, and not Jorge Borglio, which is the name of the that was the real name of the ex-pope. The popes always take a fake name. So now this new guy, Leo the 14th, that's not his real name. I already forgot what his real name is.
Robert.
So yeah. Oh, and he's American. Yeah, he's America. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Does he wear a MAGA hat underneath his robe?
Is that the first American one, or have there been others?
I think so.
Interesting.
He's in Chicago.
Oh,
Born in Chicago.
great. More Chicago mafia.
He lived in Chile quite a bit, and I think for about maybe 10 years or something, and then he lived quite a bit in Rome.
So we can assume compromised.
I don't know. I mean, it's a big responsibility, like actually being the Catholic Pope. It just like how would you deal with actually the Catholic, with the Vatican, right? As an organization, it's history. Like I don't know, man. It's I don't want to get into that rabbit hole.
We saw Donald Trump joking around, pretending like he could be Pope, or
right.
Did you see that? And then there was a group of women who went and lit up a bunch of pink smoke. Did you see this? Because they're upset. They're like, why can't we have a woman Pope? And I'm like thinking, yeah, it doesn't work that way. Of course, it doesn't really technically work that way for women preachers. Oh, sorry. Anyways, and then so they did the pink smoke thing because when they pick a new pope, there's different colored smoke that comes out the chimney. You know, they picked they picked a pope when there's white smoke coming out the chimney, like they're all getting high on bong loads, right? But until then, it's been black smoke. So they've been meeting for the conclave, releasing black smoke. So a bunch of women got together, put up the pink smoke. Interestingly enough, I've not seen very many Jewish people coming out saying that they're upset that there's no Jewish pope. But I imagine we won't see that, will we? Anyway.
Nope, I don't think so. Probably not.
What color would that smoke be? Blood red, I'm sure.
Probably.
Maybe we should ask DOJ to put smoke when they release the Epstein file.
Yeah,
they have been this entire time. They've been blowing the smoke right up our asses.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just burning all those files, right?
Yeah. There didn't someone. Oh, I think it was Bongino. Didn't Bongino just recently come out and say, "Oh, sorry, there's just too much like national security stuff inside of those"?
I think it was Patel.
Was it Patel? I think a couple.
Yeah. Well, and then he backpedaled today, and he said, "Yeah, we're gonna." I don't know, man. Like, do you want to get into that whole Trump now, or we just continue on this and we get to that later? Because I'm gonna get fired up.
Go for it, man. I mean, might as well.
Are we ready to talk about the 100 days?
Yeah.
Who voted for Trump in this school? I did.
Yeah.
This is what I voted for?
I don't think so, man.
Well, no, I did not. Exactly. Here is my biggest disappointment, right? So number one, I know that basically whoever is taking or him winning that election, right? It was going to be the toughest job to try to reverse course, at least in some of the topics, right? And I said that from the very beginning, like this whole Israel thing, I did not even think that he's going to do anything about it, right? If you guys remember, was not my fight, right? So my fight was like, I'm going in for the Maha, right? And I'm going in for restoration of transparency of the government, right? And what is the first thing he didn't do? He did not give me the transparency I want, right? So the first thing I was expecting from someone in this dire time we're in, like in a time where, the whole republic is on the line, right? And there might be some tough days ahead of us as a nation, and we need to unite so that we can navigate this hard time that's coming. As a leader, the first thing I would say, I would come out and start talking really honestly with people. Hey, we're going to have some economical, turn, like bad times is going to happen, right? We're going to try to bring industries. I'm going to try to put tariffs, and this is going to create some chaos in the beginning, right? It's going to be hard, but this is a long-term plan, right? Of this is what we're going to achieve within this like 10, 15 years, right? This is what we're doing with the Department of Justice and what we promised you of transparency and cleaning the swamp, right? And instead, what we get is what appear like a cluster chaos and clusterfuck pretty much in those 100 days, right? And his tendency of taking everything, every defeat he gets, right, and trying to spin it to be positive as a win creates more chaos, right? Because now he creates distrust in the people that elected him, that they already have distrust in the government. So when you're acting this way, you're not getting any trust. As a matter of fact, you're going to get these people to start rejecting you and push harder against you, right? Because they were skeptical about the government in the beginning. And that's why we put you in office, to put some accountability. But when you start acting the same shady way as business as usual, right? And start putting like bunch of like media figures in the government because they're just loyal to you, but they are just bunch of morons, right? With no qualifications whatsoever. And it does not give me confidence that he has a plan, right? This picture behind you of that him playing that 4D chess, right? I think anybody that still believes that Trump is playing 4D chess is delusional, right? He's completely winging it at this point of time. And he still have time, we still 100 days in. He still have time to reverse course and to come clean with his base, right? And start. But I don't think he will do that because this is not his character, right? And I think it's going to create more drift into his base and going to make people even more skeptical. But in general, I'm just displeased. Even like something simple as the immigration, right? Like he deported how many? 250,000? Right? No, 100,000. I forgot the number. It's 100 or 250,000. Either way, 100 day, 250,000. Take that number, multiply it by whatever days he has left. There is no way he's gonna come close to even deport 5 million people, right?
Yeah.
So he has to come up with a different strategy.
20 plus during Biden.
Yeah, like 12 million. They got 12 million in, right? So there is no way that basically he will be able to handle this the way he's handling, especially when he has a bimbo in that DHS, right? All what she does is taking photo ops with like guns and showing she's stuff, but really she's not doing anything. And she's coming out and talking about real ID, right? That's where her, like, how many videos have I seen of her coming out and talk about real ID, right?
Oh, she's just chilling for it, man. It's crazy.
So, yeah, let's take about Doge, for example, right? I'm all about Doge, right? I'm all about like try to dismantle as much of this federal government as we can and bringing the states back, right? More power to the states, because this is what the Constitution does. It's more power to the state than the federal government, actually, in our Constitution. But the way the whole thing about Doge, like they created like a big fuss in the beginning, or a big like propaganda in the beginning. We're gonna cut $2 trillion in 5 months, right? We're gonna like do all this, do all that, and the way it's being handled is through chaos. So they are, number one, they are firing people with no plan whatsoever and bringing in someone that has openly, right, said that he wants to have a WeChat right? And his dream is transhumanism, and we're giving power to people like Peter Thiel, right, and all these people that backing his administration to start taking over the government. And I know Ruckus was talking about from the beginning, and he was skeptical about that, and I give him props for this. But what I expected from him is, yes, we're going to do government cut, we're going to start firing people, we're going to start doing efficiency using AI, whatever we're going to do. But this is the measure we're going to put in place to ensure we don't go into technocracy black hole, right? For that your worst fears, my base, right? That most of you like talk about the technocracy and the 2030 agenda, right? This is how I ensure that we're not going to get there, right? But that didn't happen, right? Because I don't think he's thinking about it this way, and I think honestly, I'm start getting that feel that he's just a vehicle to just push us to the next piece that we need to go to, which is sadly, like, we've been talking about that. Because I do not see the systems. Like, we cannot solve problem if we cannot put a long-term system. And I don't know why our government cannot do that. Like we're the freaking US, for God's sake. Like, when can we start thinking long-term and putting long-term solutions? Like, we can't put long-term solution, and I'm just baffled how we reach that level. Like a complete hallowing of intellect and talent in this country. Even like diplomats, we have 0 diplomats right now anywhere in our foreign policy. 0. Nobody able to just carry like diplomacy, which is crazy, right?
No.
So
like, they don't even know how to do statecraft. Like,
no, they can't. No,
these people that are in there now, these like people like Victoria
Rubio and Kellogg, right? These people
Yeah.
have 0 ability to do statecrafts.
No, they're like geopolitically illiterate, just like mouthpieces of oligarchs and intel agencies and bankers and ghouls. It's just military industrial complex, just mouthpieces for it. It's insane, dude. And like, it'd be one thing if this administration was like, yeah, this is a problem that's too big, we don't know how to fix that system, but we're working on it, and here's what we're going to do in the meantime is we're going to put handcuffs on people that did fraud, waste, and abuse on purpose. And I think that's what's really starting to perturb people. There hasn't been a single goddamn arrest of anyone like that, yet Pam Blondie's made over 80 media appearances in the first 100 days.
Fox
That's got a
News,
lot of
yep.
people pissed off.
Yeah, she's doing more Fox News interviews than anything else.
Yep.
Well, maybe that's what these people were hired to do, and why these people all seem to come from that. Yeah, it's all TV stuff. It's all,
yes.
They make the rounds. They come from TV. I mean, Fox News guy is the fucking defense dude. I mean, come on. Hegseth, what's his name? Pete? Come on.
I mean, look at even his pick of the general surgeon, right?
Who's the general surgeon?
I forgot her name. She's the one that did not complete her residency. Man, give me a second.
Was she the one who got caught with the old pro-jab stuff too?
No, they dropped Nashwit and they brought a new person yesterday.
Whatever, as you pointed out, they're all just a giant disappointment. Like, you brought up the Maha thing. That one, like, I'm like, that was the last hope that I had. I was like, well, yeah. Okay, at least we have RFK Jr. And like, what the fuck, dude? What insult to injury? That one hurt. That one.
The first thing he comes out with is we have an epidemic of anti-Semitism, and then come to Texas and grift on mRNA shots, or no,
vaccines are good for you.
MMR. My bad. It's right around the corner though. And look, we got MK Ultra with us here. What's up, man? Welcome to the Boiler Room.
Yeah, how you guys doing? Yeah, Mark was busy tonight, so I'm filling in for Mark Anderson.
All right.
Nice.
Well, it sure feels like we're dealing with a lot of widely based MK Ultra in the media. So good to have you here.
Yeah, good to be had, as the old saying goes. I detect a little bit of pessimism here. I kind of parachuted in at mid-range here, mid-sentence. I detect all is not happy.
It's not pessimism. It's just frustrated voter that was
Frustration,
hoping
yeah.
for change, and we got the
Yeah.
same old thing again.
Well, I was on the Australian League of Rights the other night. We talk economics on there on occasion, and we talk about solutions and the situation with governments. And one of the things that I brought up was that I think that after the time that's been that has lapsed since the creation of the Bank of England in 1694, about 110 plus years since the creation of the Federal Reserve, the media, as we know them, that have spawned out of those banking houses. What we may be looking at here is that the governments that seem so dysfunctional have been overthrown. The infrastructure's there, you know, the House, the U.S. Capitol building, the White House, but what's in there is just simply not the government that we think of, or in a way, it's not government at all. It's just a bunch of errand boys and sort of a Congress emeritus that is there to just let the banking fraternities rule and to carry out their policies. In other words, it's somebody else's government. It's not ours. Ours, the original republic, has been overthrown. It might be that much finality. It just isn't there anymore. And I know that sounds almost like a overstatement, but is it? I don't know. When something is that dysfunctional and just completely counterintuitive to everything we believe and know, there can only be so many possible explanations, correct? So if the one I'm saying is a little bit of an overstatement, then what is it? You know, then what is the answer to such non-response to the average person's aspirations and, you know, hopes for the future? I mean, eventually, when you usurp a government, you eventually replace that government. In other words, usurpation doesn't last forever. If you hijack a city, it's not going to stay in the process of hijacking, let's say, a city, taking over a city. It's not going to stay in that transitional process forever. Eventually, unless the hijacker's defeated, the hijacker takes over and overthrows who was running that city, right?
And that can be a long game too, right? Like that can go on for decades, which is really seems like maybe a lot of time, but is not in the longer scope of things.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm only entertaining all the possibilities while at the same time kind of acknowledging that there's only so many possibilities as to why things are the way they are. So what Ron Avery says, Ron's a pretty wise guy, has a lot of wisdom about political science. One of the things he says is that we learn all about science, biological sciences, physics. We learn all sorts of science, but we never learn political science in the genuine sense of the concept. So we're scientifically illiterate about civics, scientifically illiterate about what a political system is and how it works. And I think Ron has a point. The average person says you're told to vote, but absent a larger knowledge of political science and how governmental systems are structured and how they're supposed to work, voting is either futile or even dangerous. Because an uninformed vote you're probably better off not voting at all in many instances, unless you're maybe in some local election where, yes, you're going to approve a new tax, or no, you're going to defeat the new tax. Something real straightforward. Either you approve the new tax or you vote it down. And it's just one thing on the ballot, and boom, it's either yes or no. Maybe that kind of election works. But these multiple personality elections, I don't know. There's so much dishonesty and so much room for miscounting them. But by the same token, even if you have an honest election, which is better than a dishonest election, then where are you at, right? Then what do you do after that? How do you exert any effective control over your destiny? It's a very difficult thing. I guess I'll leave it at that for now. There's something I could add, but I don't want to just ramble on. But that's sort of what I've been talking over with some people over the last few weeks, things along those lines.
I don't think actually what you said earlier about the government is out of fetch. I think this is actually, I actually truly believe that this is what's happening. We do not have a government anymore that's representing people. We are electing people in there that just carries a banking agenda, right? An agenda of those people that just, are pulling the string and globally. But here is the thing. Even though that government we have might not represent us anymore, and not to be, to give it a positive spin, I think more and more people are waking up to that fact. And I think what's going to happen, it's eventually is going to collapse. I think that the collapse is inevitable. That's what I was saying earlier. And not to be just blackpilling everybody, but the signs are showing that the collapse is inevitable. But the resiliency of us, the people, right, and our ability to fight back, I still do believe in that. And I still believe that there is enough awakening that's happening right now that we will be able to organize and come out as people victorious when that happens. But I think it's, as you said, Mark, the signs is just, there is no other explanation. But this is why from the very beginning we said there is no savior, right? Everybody was looking for him as a savior, and we said that this is not going to happen. The only one that can save us are us, right? That's why we have to start building from the ground up. I think Washington is gone. We have to start building from the ground up.
Yeah, I mean, this whole ongoing Jeffrey Epstein topic is a perfect example of what Mark was talking about there, how a system can be gone out from under your nose and most people haven't even noticed it yet, or they're just starting to understand or grasp the monolithic scope of the corruption and the problem. Like we've waited all this time for this supposed thing, and they did this stupid dog and pony show with the ex-influencers and gave them their binders and whatnot, and didn't really release any new information. And at this point, they're Mark, before you got here, we were talking about this, and it looks like, just sort of reading the tea leaves, that they're going to say, they're already starting to say, there's too many national security issues if we release these files. And that, I would argue that is because if they were to actually release and people are misguided, and misled into thinking that this is simply a human trafficking and sex thing, when really there is massive, like, international influence peddling, weapons trafficking, blackmail. There's all kinds of crazy stuff going on that touches, like the Lex Wexner group, the Carlyle group, J.P. Morgan, Jamie Dimon, the Pritzker family. You know what I mean? Like, there's just all these different areas of legal discovery that point to corruption on both sides of our political aisle, all of our media aisle, internationally, ambassadors, bankers, international bankers. You know what I mean? It's just so nasty that if it were to all really come out, it would be the same with JFK. You know, it's like if any of these things were to actually come all the way out and be exposed for what they actually are. I mean, you don't have a government. That's not a government. That's not a government that's something that wants to protect itself when it's that bad, and it's supposedly built on the tenets of the founders of this government. It's just not what it was, and it never can be, without being completely rebuilt from the ground up, like you're saying there, Pharaoh.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing, I think it was a sad awakening, and honestly, the way they managed it was so bad. If they came out from the very beginning and said, you know what, we're not going to be able to release this right away, and it's just going to take some time to vet it or whatever, right? But the way they did it was so humiliating to everybody, as you said, like bunch of binders to bunch of like social media morons that and it's just so insulting to us. And I'm just sick of us being insulted every day with bunch of people that they think they are smarter than us. No, they're not smarter than us. And I think the people have to make that really clear to them, as we're not accepting this anymore, right? We're not being talked down upon this way. Either honesty or just fuck off, right? And but it's a lot of people are just getting blackpilled with this Epstein, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere because we know who it implicates, right? And we saw this James O'Keefe expose that he's trying to do. Like the first one is like, oh, Prince Andrew fucked underage girls. Like, we fucking knew that. How long ago we knew that?
Yeah.
Do we really need you to come out and say that, dude?
Yeah, that's such old news.
It is, right? It's.
But how or why are these things national security? I don't understand how they can get away with saying, well, we can't arrest these criminals who committed criminal acts because it would be, national security.
It's code for I can't. If we did that, we wouldn't be able to just arrest our political opponents. We'd have to arrest our mentors too.
Well, you're going to arrest the government. It's to show that your entire government is compromised. That's what it is. That's why it's national security.
Yep.
Because basically they are being blackmailed by foreign country.
This conversation sounds anti-Semitic already.
Yeah.
Well, so let's take this anti-Semitic.
Get in trouble.
Well, let's take this whole anti-Semitic thing that the Trump administration was surrounding himself with all those Zionists. What is it doing right now? Completely the opposite effect. People are waking up to the influence of this eye-starting country on our nation, and that we're actually cannot do anything. We cannot even express freedom of speech without being called anti-Semitic, which had nothing to do with anti-Semitism, right? So I think it's backfiring on them. And I don't think they're going to be able to control the narrative, because that's what happens when you try to do this.
Well, that's interesting timing, because the news today was supposedly there's some sort of fractioning happening, fallout between Trump and Bibi. Did you guys catch wind of this?
Yeah, I
what's
did.
going on?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't think I buy it, but yeah.
Well, it's basically, it was published in one of the Israeli basically news. I forgot which one, but basically saying that Trump feels humiliated because he thinks that Bibi is using him and he's making him look as if he's being manipulated in public, and Trump doesn't look this way.
Whatever.
Complete bullshit.
We just saw Trump pull the chair out for Bibi like it was his freaking wife or something like that. Like that.
That's right.
And he's also what? He's also the father-in-law of Trump's favorite daughter also. So they're like, I don't know. It sounds tabloidy to me. I hope, I don't know. Who at this point, like, who cares? Like, what does it mean anything? Does it mean they'll stop using our tax dollars to like send 2,000-pound bombs over there? Like, now that would be something I could, sink my teeth into.
You're absolutely right, dude. That's exactly my reaction. Is like, here you are trying to sell me like a bullshit story. How is this impacting actually day to day? Are you
Yeah.
gonna start like getting rid of all the Zionists surrounding you? Are you gonna
Right.
stop like blindly supporting Israel, getting us in a war with Iran?
Yeah. Does that mean maybe we'll stop just, sending bombs into the poorest country in the world, like Yemen, where they've already killed over like, 8 million kids through starvation over the last decade, perhaps? I don't know.
Yeah, so it's I think that the way they think that they have control over the narrative, yes, maybe they're controlling like 20% of the population, the boomers, right? That just like that they used to be Fox News watcher and now they're just sitting online and watching some memes and
Yeah.
just Trump thumping, right? But I don't think it's just the majority of people just gonna fly with them.
They have a sleep channel now. You go to sleep to it's called Trump Lo-Fi. Did you guys see this shit?
No.
What is that?
This is from the official White House. They have a stream going, and it's just like a cartoon, like Studio Ghibli anime version of Trump, like pretending like he's signing the executive orders, and it's just a list of all his accomplishments and how great Trump is. You fall asleep to Trump Lo-Fi. I'm not making this shit up.
Wow,
I'll find you a link. This
crazy,
is crazy,
dude. It's crazy. They think they are they think that they are going to replace mainstream media and the fake news media that's dying with a bunch of like freaking like paid Twitter people, right? And bullshit like memes and shit like what Ruckus is talking about. I don't think people that once you start waking up, you're gonna see through that, right? I don't think you're gonna buy that.
Yeah, you can't put that genie back in the bottle, man. And so many people are getting sick of it at this point. It's like people used to freak out and call us names when we would talk and disown us and socially reject us when we would talk about some of these things years ago. And now it's not that way anymore. It's not that way, and it's really weird to see it all happen.
But the positive thing also, I'll go ahead, Ruckus. Are you going to say something? There you go.
Oh no, I was just going to show. Oh, you found it. Okay.
Yeah. Lo-fi beats. Wow. So is there a link to it here?
There's a YouTube link somewhere online.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna mute it just in case there's any.
Well, that's the popular. That's what it's based off of. Is this thing? This is one of the most popular YouTube channels. Is the Lo-Fi Beats channel. So now the White House has issued their version of this. Lo-Fi MAGA is what it's called.
Lo-Fi MAGA. Oh my gosh.
Someone posted something great, which is so true. Every like organic movement that starting from the Tea Party to Occupy, it started being co-opted, right? From with basically state actors and the deep state, right? And it ended up being killed. And I think that's what they're exactly doing right now to this whole America First movement. But I don't think they are going to succeed because I think it's bigger than what they think it is. But I think they are trying to co-opt this whole MAHA movement and the America First movement, right? But I don't think it's going to succeed. I don't think this whole like rebranding of what RFK did, of trying to focus on food and just, let's forget about pharma. Let's forget about the vaccine schedule that we still have the mRNA shot right now. That what I saw statistics like 2.3 5 million kids since Trump took office were vaccinated with mRNA vaccine, right? Because it's still on the schedule.
Mhm.
That he's able to pull it with a fucking pen, right? To cancel that shit. And
Yep.
it did not happen.
Yep.
Right. I don't think people are buying that narrative. It's great to have, clean food, but this is not the fight. The fight is with the big guys, which is pharma. We know that this is the fight of the Maha movement. Is
Yeah.
with pharma.
Yeah, yeah, yay, great job and all. Thanks for getting fluoride out of the water if possible and chemtrails out of the sky. But you know what? Like anyone with a brain in the last 20 years knew to avoid those things on their own if possible. But yeah, to see him out pushing the MMR vaccine here in Texas was completely disgusting. And the fact that there's still emergency use authorization for these experimental products, which many scientists and researchers and doctors argue have been involved in the cause of death of 500,000 Americans or more, millions of people worldwide, perhaps. Why that is still on the emergency use authorization is insane to me, and why we're looking at a CDC schedule of 200 jabs by 18 or something like that is insane to me. It's not like he's saying we're going to get rid of seed oil in foods, get rid of processed seed oil. Boy, that would do something, wouldn't it? Or get rid of glyphosate, Roundup, all that stuff. Is he going to get rid of any of that?
Are you talking?
Go ahead, Mark.
Oh, sorry. Are you talking about RFK? I'm
Yeah.
just getting.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, again, coming in sort of midstream here. I haven't listened to everything that he has said as of late. Just to sort of insert a couple things. Florida's become the second state apparently that's going to defluoridate the water, and to be somewhat positive, anything that gets rid of these totalitarian schemes via the needle, via the water, via our skies, via the soil, such as glyphosate, those are all, in my opinion at least, kind of on a parallel track. Through the needle, through the soils, through the air, through the water, through the food. A friend of mine, Michael Maxson, he's a laboratory naturopathic doctor, lives up near Waxahachie, Texas. He believes that most tyranny is of that insidious nature, not geopolitics, not the threat of China, but most of the totalitarianism is through these more invisible substrata kind of processes. In other words, get us all worked up about geopolitics. Not that that's unimportant, but most of the degradation and attacks on humanity are through medical and water and food. The basic pillars of life. What the psychiatrist, or was he a psychologist, Abraham Maslow called the basic things that we need to survive, food, shelter, water, and that these things are degraded. It's a multifaceted thing, and there's a lot of layers to it. But it's an interesting thought to consider. And I think with COVID, I think we saw the main face of that tyranny wouldn't necessarily come knocking on your door or kicking your door in. Rather, it would lock you up in your own home under COVID crackdowns. And so the nature of tyranny, it might be where we're misled to think it's going to be the jackboots coming through the door. Not that that could never happen, and heaven forbid that it ever would, but rather it would be things of a more gradual, less visible nature. Again, through the food, through the water, through the medical system, that's the main way that they'd put people down, the main way that they'd institute a tyranny and degrade and kill people off and cull the herd at the same time. it's deceptive in the sense that we've kind of been led to believe that, oh, we had the Cold War, we're going to have a nuclear holocaust maybe, and we're going to fight the Ruskies. Maybe a lot of that was vaudeville. I won't say no reality to it, but maybe there was a degree of vaudeville to that.
Mm. Yeah, really, man. I mean, it's pretty crazy. Like if you look at if some of these figures that we see out there, nationwide and worldwide, are true about or are accurate about the number of people that are no longer here because of some of these experimental things that have been introduced into our society since 2000 or since 2021. It's more of a loss than most wars. Some of the biggest wars that we talk about, that are forever ingrained in our psyches, even if they happened before we were born. Like for Gen Xers, it's World War II usually. I mean, what if hear it in the sci-fi movie trailer voice? What if more people were made not alive anymore by a product that governments worldwide and media worldwide pushed on behalf of fill in the blank. It's pretty crazy. Like it's a weird inversion to think that like this is happening right under our noses, and the death toll is bigger than things that we've been trained, politicized, historically, psyoped into putting a lot of mental energy and sympathy and empathy and anguish and interest and intrigue and all that into, and this just is happening right under our noses. And thousands of soccer players just die on the field within a matter of 3 years, and all of a sudden little kids have myocarditis and all this stuff, and it's just, oh, this is happening. This is just something that happens now. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? We just lost as many like non-combatants as we lost combatants in World War II in a matter of this many years.
Yeah, that's saying nothing of opioid, fentanyl, and then like when you see the St. Jude's Children's Hospital commercials, there's a reason I'll never give them the 63 cents a day and the $19 a month. Okay, so you're telling me they're basically saying it's inexplicable that all these little kids are coming in with rare cancers, 2-month-old, 3-month-old kids with blastoma, this and brain cancer and all this. And it's like, then St. Jude says we won't stop until no one, until we save every kid from cancer. But there's never any talk about what's causing the cancers.
Mhm.
If you're going to arrest childhood cancer, you have to know what's causing it. You can't just react when they come in with a brain tumor. And you can't just say it's inexplicable, that it's idiopathic, that it has no known origin. I mean, come on. Heavier and heavier vaccination schedules have to be a culprit in why all these little kids are having chemotherapy and becoming bald-headed before they're even 1 year old. There has to be a reason. They're not just getting cancer. Okay, you don't just get cancer. Okay, and so I'll never give them any money for that reason alone, is because I detect there's a deception there, or at least a lack of courage to say, why are these kids getting cancer? And apparently a lot of them come in there with all these bizarre heart conditions and cancers and all over their body and all sorts of different, often rare cancers. And I've got to think, I mean, what else could it be? I mean, some environmental things, yes, in general, perhaps. Maybe mothers abusing, smoking when they're pregnant. It could be a number of things, but the vaccines and the intensified vaccine schedules would just have to be front and center. It's unavoidable.
I mean, so many of these things have that SM40 stuff in it that it's a human specimen. Basically, they have human specimens in them. They've got all this weird junk stuff in there that people's immune systems don't always respond kindly to. They're foreign objects, and they cause all these crazy immune responses. And it's like, again, there used to be 7 inoculations on the schedule, and now it's like 200. It's insane how much it's gone up. And I don't know. I could rabbit hole on this for an hour.
It's worth mentioning that James Roguski, the WHO pandemic treaty researcher, has got something online right now about repealing the PrEP Act. And that's an important thing. There's a petition. If you go to James Roguski's Substack website, I announced it on UK Column, my Friday show last Friday, and I believe if I get a chance, I'm going to reiterate it tomorrow on this petition that can be signed and different things that can be done, at least to create awareness, if nothing else, about the PrEP Act, because that's one of the main things that keeps Big Pharma in action is their immunity, relative immunity from lawsuits.
Yeah, he's great. Substack.com/at James Roguski, JamesRoguski is where you can find it. Yeah, you should subscribe to that Substack. It's a good one.
Yeah, I mean that, and on a practical level, that indemnity, that immunity from lawsuits, which I guess was inaugurated with Ronald Reagan, I believe in '86 or so, was responsible for that. And so, without being too pessimistic, and what I said earlier about our government, at least the one that was founded, being overthrown, I don't think that's too far off the mark. On the other hand, if I was overstating the case, if that's the absolute worst case scenario, there are some things among Trump's many press releases that do make some sense some of the time. There are things there that I never thought I'd see that I advocated some years ago. But one of the better things going on, for good or ill, and I think it's mostly for good, I hope so, is the admission of new media in the White House. And someone I did some news reports with 10 years ago, Gary Franchi of the Next News Network, he got into the White House. And there are others like, everything from the Gateway Pundit to, I got it right here. As a matter of fact, I wrote up an article about it. Epoch Times. You've got, of course, you got some that aren't so good, Ben Shapiro. But the good thing about it is that even though some of the media that have been allowed to work alongside the mainstream press, work alongside the media cartel, although some of them are a little bit uncomfortably pro-Israel, to say the least.
Yeah.
On the other hand, it does bring in a bevy of media that are opposed to the climate change narrative, opposed to the open borders narrative, generally opposed most of the time to the pro-vaccine narrative. So there's a lot of, in lack of a better word, anti-vax, anti-climate change, anti-open borders media now working alongside the mainstream press, which of course is pro-vax, pro-open borders, pro-climate change. So it does change the complexion of the media that's allowed in the White House. And although they don't fire on all cylinders, with Israel being a particular note to make, they do fire on some of the good cylinders that bring a different narrative and different sets of questions into the White House. With Gary Franchi getting in there, I used to work with him like 10 years ago. We did some stuff on the Federal Reserve, some stuff on Bilderberg. And he's changed his news approach a little bit, but be that as it may, that is one of the more positive things, is that alternate media are getting recognized, much like you, Hesh, when you were doing TNT and you were beginning to talk to people that only yesterday were on Fox News, and it was starting to change the narrative. It was starting to introduce people that were on Fox News, and oh wow, there's this Brian McLean out there. There's TNT. There's UK Column. They were beginning to see the larger media universe, these talking heads that have been on Fox, and like Paul Manafort, things like that. So if you put all that out there, and the shifting of the media narrative across these issues that I mentioned, that's one of the more cautiously optimistic things going on out there, because the narrative is that the mass media cartel seeks to control. That's the mortar between the bricks of the wall of the obstacles that they build between us and our freedom. If you think of it as a brick wall, the mass media cartel is the mortar between those bricks. And what I described, although it won't happen overnight, is a way of loosening that barrier that they put between us and a much better future. The bankers couldn't do what they do to our government or in general without that media cartel. Don't kid yourself. That is the number one, as Ron Avery says, that is literally a weapon. That's the biggest arrow in their arsenal. That's the biggest missile they got. And it's not a kinetic weapon, it's an informational weapon. All warfare is informational. Whether it's kinetic or not, it's always informational. We can agree on that. And so, I'll probably take a stab myself, maybe, to try and get beyond my minimal congressional press credentials that I've had a long time, although I haven't exercised those in like 5 years, largely because of COVID. But, more of us need to knock on the White House door and see who they'll let in, if only for an experiment, because the more people they let in like us, that tells you something, right? Zero Hedge is in there, and there are some media outlets, new ones, that don't totally agree with Trump that have been allowed in. The Catholic station EWTN has protested the policy toward Israel because it violates traditional just war principles. The principles of a just war are violated. Those principles go back a very long time in history. So maybe all of a sudden I've become too optimistic, where a few minutes ago I was too cynical. But I'm just trying to paint the broadest possible picture. I can't stay up a whole lot later, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, I'll feel better about their new media seat when you're sitting in it, Mark. That's for sure. I'll
Well,
definitely.
we know you're not gonna sell out, but a lot of those new media seats as well, they're gonna sell out once they taste the same that the old media tasted, right? So that's I see where you're coming from, Mark, but not everybody will have the integrity to stay the course.
And
There's only few can do that.
And I agree, Mark. I like the look. I just feel like something there's something else afoot here. Like,
Asher, we lost you.
oh, can you hear me now?
From me or?
I can hear him. Everything's
Alright.
fine.
Maybe.
Okay, you might need to pop out and back in, Mystical Pharaoh. I don't know if you can hear me or not. But it feels like the Discord has been allowed to change for some reason, and I think it's by design. I'm not quite sure how to describe it, Mark, but I'm just like with so many of these people that are bringing some of these talking points now. It's just like, well, where were you? Like, where the heck were you? In 2021 with this? Where were you? When we really needed people with these kind of platforms. I mean, is this just a side effect of everything becoming so obvious that now we're having to welcome in all these fellow travelers who are already on the, fame and fortune from riding the original Trump train, or not standing up against the COVID stuff when it was going on. I don't know. I just, it's hard for me to not feel a little icky about some of those people, like Daily Wire for sure. But there were some, like it was good to see some people up there for sure. And even some people I don't always agree with brought some good questions. Like there are people I could agree with on some topics, and they happen to bring some good questions on those ones. Mystical Pharaoh, are you back? Can you hear me?
Yes. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I'm glad you can hear me now.
That's a good point, Hash. There is, you do got to sit back and kind of hesitate at it a little bit and contemplate it a bit. I think what I'll do, if I can't promise I can even do it, is I got the email for applying. I actually have the right email. I just want to see what they say. Throw the
Yeah.
ball in the air and see where it lands. It like an acid test.
Right.
To your point, Hesher, you have to, at some point, we have to say, or if it wasn't 2025 and all the things that have happened, can't we give people the benefit of the doubt? I mean, I'm obviously a huge critic or skeptical of, say, like Alex Jones, but you go back far enough in his work, it's like, yeah, he was pretty legit back in the day, right? And a lot of us have our stories about like how he was assistive in aiding a lot of us waking process to get to where we are, right? So like not everybody arrives at that moment at the same time, and if they get there, they get there. But now we're talking about people who, this might be part of like what's going on is like all of this giant distrust of, I mean, look at the Ian Carroll thing. I hate to just drop a name like that, but it's all over the place. People are quite well aware of this now. Like he was like all pro MAGA, this and that, and then now he's like all like, he's all doing the Israel thing, right? And he's getting a name for himself for that, I guess, because Elon Musk helped him go viral. He's making the rounds, doing the thing, but now he's lost the trust of everyone who used to hang out with him before he was popular. So like the more some of these people become popular, they seem to be losing their clout and their trustworthiness with their original base. And you guys are pointing out, at what point do they become compromised? A lot of the blue check marks got compromised quite easily by the old-fashioned way, which is just money. So they're just out there chasing the almighty dollar, and they don't even have time to worry about what they're doing and what they're not doing. But like, I was watching some person trying to defend themselves. Like, yes, I didn't say anything during the pandemic, and here's why. Like, I was afraid. They were just humans. They believed the shit that was told to them, just like our friends and our family. They used the fear tactics. We have to realize and understand that everyone was victimized. So I can't hold all of these people guilty just because in the beginning they didn't say anything. And I would love to throw them a bone and say, congratulations, thanks for joining our side. But how come you have 1 million viewers all of a sudden and you make money? And I don't? Like, what's up with that? I'm not saying I'm jealous, but why is that? Why are the people who've been saying these things and doing the right things from the beginning are still getting the short end of the stick when it comes to the pie that's being passed around the media,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, Ruckus. I mean, you're a good reporter and you got good equipment. You're technically proficient, as far as I can tell. You should apply too. Can you travel?
I'm not gonna. Yeah, maybe I'll go to the White House and ask what's her name some questions.
Yeah, I think that anybody that can apply should apply, because we need to see where their limits are.
Mm-hmm.
Who's too radical for them. I don't know, that Hesher, he don't trust Netanyahu, but Hesh, you got a good.
I know someone in our colleague list who would probably be denied right out of the gate. Patrick Henningsen.
That could be. Of course, he's mostly reporting for the column right now, and he's in the UK. I don't know how often he goes to the States, so just the fact that he's located in the UK probably would be problematic. But nevertheless, I think that you, Ruckus, and myself, maybe even you, Hesh, should just float your name out there and just see if you're approved or not, and we can share stories about yes or no, we were or were not approved. And Because there's another angle to it. It's not just the press pool that goes to the press briefing room in the White House. The email list that I'm on, which I get everything pretty much, there was something where I got an email and Air Force One was going to an Air Force base near Detroit, that's on Lake St. Clair, slightly northeast of Detroit, right on this body of water. And the thing that I got had a link where I could have applied to just attend that one event and covering Trump making a few comments outside Air Force One or on the airbase or something. So it's not just White House access. Trump's Air Force One might come to Temple or near Temple, and I could send you the link and you could see if you could cover that one-time event.
And I could be one of the guys that you hear in the back, Mr. President, Mr. President, and they just ignore you and walk away.
Well, nevertheless, just to have the experience and to see if they'd approve you,
What's the question you would shout to him if you could shout a question as he's walking away? What would it be, Mark?
Did you fake your assassination?
I knew it. Mr. President, are we going to get disclosure about the aliens? That's what I'm going to ask.
Can we get a close up of the earlobe, the magical self-repairing earlobe, please, sir?
The self-repairing earlobe. Boom, boom, boom.
Mark, did you see the clip when someone asked him about it and he was like, "It's just the lobe. It heals very quickly. Just the lobe."
They didn't say self-repairing earlobe. I must. No,
I had to throw that in.
Talk to a doctor about that, because apparently when you're like 78, that's not normal to heal that quickly. But hey, whatever.
I'm gonna find that clip. I want to put it on the soundboard. Just the lobe.
Well, at any rate, I'm just mentioning that covering the White House and going to Washington is not the only thing. He sends out media feelers to places that Air Force One is traveling to all around the country. And there's apparently, I don't think it was just the Michigan example. Apparently, that's a prevalent thing where media that are in outlying parts of the country can make a one-time app to cover that one event. So if he comes down to the border, naturally, I'll put in to go to the border right here. And so therefore you're not having to go to Washington, which is fun to do. It's a fun place to go, but it's kind of a pain in the ass too. But
plus, if you go to Washington, Mark, you might accidentally run into the Reaper himself, J.D. Vance, and God only knows what'll happen after that chance encounter.
Yeah, ask the Pope.
Yeah,
the old Pope. Yeah.
Yep, the old Pope.
Ex-Pope.
So there you go. I guess I'll leave it at that. Maybe I'll stay another 5-10 minutes here.
No, I love it. I love the idea, Mark. I think it's great. I think we should definitely do that, at least so we can document the process and show people like what that looks like. So if we got nothing back, or if we got
I'll live stream it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Hell yeah, why not? No, it'd be fun. We should definitely do that. And if they pick us, we're going to need you guys' help. Kathleen, thank you. Kathleen threw $20 in the tip jar tonight. Really appreciate that, Kathleen. If you want to support
we'll need a lot of Kathleens
to
get us there.
out there if we're going to be flying to DC and stuff like that. I mean, I'm going to have to BA Baracus Ruckus just to get him on an airplane to get him to DC, probably. So
he needs to get his real ID first.
That's right.
Ruckus is afraid to fly. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to knock him out.
But you have a better chance at me doing that, like an actual chance of me doing that, but zero chance of me getting over the ocean. Sorry, not going to happen. Never.
Well, you wouldn't have to do that to go to DC.
Nope.
You'd be on the plane about 2 hours and 15 minutes, 2:20 to get there. Maybe
and then
less.
as I'm getting on the plane, I notice it's made by Boeing, and then I shit my pants.
And I have a DEI pilot.
Right.
You're going to need Hesh as a chaperone then.
No, you're going to have to get me the crazy plane lady to be my chaperone. Then I'm all in.
Yeah, and either put some cognac in your bag or drink theirs. But cognac works real well for plane fright.
The last time I flew, I was violently ill, and part of the trip involved me being on a twin prop plane, and that was horrible. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. Scary.
Oh, little puddle jumper. Yeah, you don't want to be on one of those again.
Yeah. Oh, that's just a cloud seeding plane.
Yeah, right. Probably.
Oh, Mark, I came across that video again of a plane sitting still on a runway, just spewing stuff out the back of it. Hopefully, I bookmarked it this time. I've been wanting to share that one with you.
Oh, you got it right there?
I don't know. Let me. It might be buried in my X bookmarks. Let's see here.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff. Oh yeah. Look, I think I found it. Let's see here.
It's neither bird nor plane nor even frog. It's just little old me, underdog. Yeah, because that's just how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's cold outside. That's just that. They're telling everybody we got a new pope. It's all good.
Right. It's the white pope smoke.
It looks like up in smoke.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's that large joint that Sean gets out for Cheech.
Exactly.
When he puts the red drum set in the car. I love that part of the movie. He's got this red Ludwig kit, man. It's like, oh man, Ludwig kit. He puts it in there.
Right? Up in smoke or still smoking? I can't remember which one.
But yeah, so we'll call it the Great Media Experiment. The Great Media Experiment. We'll see how it goes.
All right, so that's our task. We'll get into that at some point this year. Here, we'll get our applications in, see if we can get into that new media seat.
There's one other thing I want to pick Mark's brain about before he takes off. I don't think we've ever talked to Mark about this topic, but I think I've heard him mention this before. But cryptocurrency has taken off again today in the past 24 hours. Things are very popular. But before that happened, Trump is getting grilled, possibly facing an SEC investigation, an ethics probe, if I'm not mistaken. Hesher, I did drop you a link just a minute ago, a CNBC link in the private chat. Did you guys hear about this thing where you may or may not be aware that Trump released a meme coin right before he was elected president, right? Or right after. It's hashtag Trump, so you can buy this Trump meme coin. But apparently, it was this week or last week, but Trump says that the people who have like the top tier holders of his coins, so the top investors in his Trump meme coin, can be invited to a private dinner with the president sometime this month.
Well, you'd have to spend a lot of money.
Yeah, you got to spend some money, and isn't this isn't this like influence peddling? Like, isn't that what like Hunter Biden and Joe Biden got in trouble for doing? And here he is doing it blatantly in your face through cryptocurrency, and not long after him being caught on a hot mic about how like the market's tanked. But oh, my buddies, this guy, he made $1 billion, yay, whatever. So what do you think about all this crypto stuff and Trump?
I mean, it could be something that Trump strategically releases just to give the media something and the Democrats something to stew over. It might be a mile wide and 1 millimeter deep. In other words, something shallow that will quickly evaporate. Is this coin is it just another collector coin that they sell on TV? And for $19.95, you can
digitally. This is a meme coin, so it's an actual cryptocurrency, but it serves no purpose other than the fact that it exists and it has his name and it's officially associated with him. Because before that, like the Doge, before Doge was a thing, Doge coin was a thing, and that's a meme coin. It does nothing except it's a picture of a damn dog, and people it's like the 5th or 6th largest cryptocurrency on the planet. So people are into these meme coins. So Trump launched his own meme coin, and so did Melania not long after Trump. But now they're saying if you own like you own $1 million worth of Trump coin in your wallet, your Trump wallet or Solana wallet, it's on the Solana blockchain, then you can have a dinner with the Trump. Yep.
And so was the Hokuto.
And where does the money go if you buy so many coins? You're just getting the coins.
Cryptocurrency is weird because the revenue is part of like the tokenomics and the project. So it technically belongs to the project, which is owned and operated by World Liberty Finance, which is Trump's family's digital product company. They're the ones that have released his NFTs in the past, and now all of his meme coins and stuff like that. But the thing is, like, you own money through this because the people inside, the owners of this company or this created this meme coin, own large amounts of the cryptocurrency. So when people go in there and FOMO into it, fear of missing out is what FOMO means, and the price of the cryptocurrency skyrockets, and people are like pouring their hard-earned money into this, thinking it's going to make them money, and then Trump and all of his buddies sell it, make a shit ton of money, and now you lost all your money. See?
So you're just buying assets for them to sell.
Yep. You're literally just giving them your money. Way to go.
Yeah, the Hokuto did the same thing.
Yeah, Haktua. She did this exact same shit.
I'm not the quickest study on these kind of things, so other than what I just said, I'm going to defer that until I look at it more closely.
I
keep it on your radar.
I will. Thank you.
It seems to me like it's a bit of a stretch to compare it to like Burisma or something like that, where it's like a very specific set of influence buying and peddling, where this is like paying, $12,000 for your Kiss concert tickets, and you get to sit down with Kiss for 5 seconds and have your poster signed or something like that. That's just because these people are going to have dinner with him doesn't necessarily mean he's going to do anything for them.
What we were talking, me and Mark are coming up with clever ways as reporters and journalists to have access to the president, right? To ask him questions.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is what we're talking about, like solutions. Wouldn't the solution be for us to pool our money together and buy? Hesh is already laughing. I'm not kidding. I mean, what if we got all the independent media together and we all like chose a person, and that person gets a wallet, and we pump all the money in, right? And we own the Trump coin, and now we get to have dinner with the president. That sounds to me like more than a 5-second thing with Kiss. That sounds like you get to sit down, hang out with, and talk to the president. Do you think you might? Maybe you might actually be able to change the damn dude's mind, and all it takes is the money, the access, and this is how all these other people do it, right? Isn't this the way the world works? Isn't this an opportunity for us little people? I'm just saying. I'm not shilling Trump coin. I'm just saying this might be a solution.
Maybe.
But then of course, what if there's some crazy lunatic leftard Democrat like the guy on the roof that wants to buy all the Trump coin to get close to Trump? You know what I'm saying? To like poison his crab cakes or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't poison Trump's crab cakes. That would be bad.
Yeah.
I just wonder what the ultimate price would be. In other words, how much you'd have to actually spend among us alternative media to find.
That's why you got to buy the dip, Mark. You got to buy the dip.
And then we would have the money. Then one of us would be picked out as the emissary to go there, the delegate.
What do you mean? I want to take the entourage. I want emissaries. I want a full entourage. I want, full on.
Oh,
all of us.
It might be bring a friend. You never know.
Tell Spore she's got to use her feminine wiles.
Absolutely.
Let's use our women for this. There we go.
And it would be easy, because then we could ask ChatGPT to write a convincing argument that we could use at the dinner to change Trump's mind about Israel, for instance. There you go. Or to ask him, hey, buddy, I know a question I would ask him sincerely. Why have you refused to walk back Operation Warp Speed, sir?
Yeah.
Crickets?
Yeah.
Possibly Warp Speed being thrown out of there. Hopefully not. But yeah, it's all very interesting, food for thought. And with that, I think I'm going to have to retire for the night.
All right.
The Friday thing comes.
Tell
so
Mark
early.
we said hello.
Yeah, if you find Mark Anderson back there, let him know he's invited next time we have a boiler room.
Yeah, I'll tell him and Rex Cars and Batson D. Belfry and all the others, all his cousins.
All right, cool. And where can people find you tomorrow?
UKcolumn.org. The live show starts at 7 Central AM, 8 o'clock AM Eastern. Of course, that's 1 o'clock in the afternoon in the UK. But they archive it right away or almost right away. And there'll be a report on the new media at the White House, and there'll be the fluoridation situation in Florida and beyond, and lots of other stuff.
All right, cool. UKcolumn.org. Find Mark Anderson over there tomorrow. Mark, thanks for being here with us tonight. Pleasure having you, and we'll look forward to having you back in the boiler room real soon.
Yeah, sounds good, guys. Good discussion. We know what to do now with our media plan. So,
yep.
See you, Mark.
Yep. Who says we aren't being constructive and just blackpilling? We're going to try. We're going to see what happens. All right. Thanks.
You never know.
Okay. There he goes.
I want to bring this just because I'm having fun talking about cryptocurrency. Why not? There's somebody in one of our chats, Bub's Cat. So shout out to Bub's Cat who's talking about XRP. I think, I don't know, like you shilling XRP. I don't know. But people, if you don't know what XRP is, there you go. This is a big one. That's by Ripple Labs, XRP. So this is one of the ones that like the World Economic Forum has sanctioned and says is cool. Trump owns a bunch of it. His family owns a bunch of it. Brad Garlinghouse, the guy who runs it, has been in and out of the White House. He's rubbing elbows with the Larry Ellisons and the Larry Finks. They're all buying all this crypto stuff. They buy a shit ton of Bitcoin. They buy a crap load of ETH. And they also like this XRP. XRP is the one that's going to be ready to go ahead and replace the SWIFT system. It's ready to go. I mean, in a heartbeat. But the only thing that was holding it back for the longest time, for like 6 years now, I think, or 4 or 5 years or so, is a lawsuit from the Securities Exchange Commission, the SEC, who just had their Gary Gensler step down, and there's a new guy in who's pro-crypto, and now they canceled the whole thing. So Ripple's not in trouble anymore, XRP. So they're going to replace the way banks and money is sent around the world. It's costly and slow. This is going to be instantaneous and cheap, and they're going to be using protocols through this thing, like XRP is one of them. The reason I brought this up, because I just saw like some YouTube video at random today, or on X or Facebook. I don't remember. It was a short thing, but it was an older thing where like it was like somebody reacting to the programming, the conditioning of all the secret symbols and shit hiding inside of the matrix. And I didn't notice this until I saw this video today. The name of the company that Neo worked for, I don't know the name of the company, but it ends in the letter X. And the way that the X is stylized is a dead ringer for the XRP logo. And the guy, and then the guy starts typing in, whoever's making the video, a bunch of these gematria. You know what gematria is, like the words and the phrases, and he takes all these things related to like the name of that company, and then he goes and he says what other things equal this same amount of gematria, and the top result has something to do with Ripple, and he does this with all these other things from Matrix, and all the top results have something to do with fucking Ripple and XRP, and you're like, what the fuck? So just saying, so there might be something to this XRP thing. It might be one of those chosen secret society things. There was also famously, a lot of people who know about this, back in the day in that magazine, The Economist, did like a special cover. There was like that dual-headed eagle Rothschild symbol, and he was holding something. It was a symbol. It's the XRP symbol, and that was before XRP was even a thing. So some weird shit going on with this XRP thing. I just wanted to point that out. Go down the rabbit hole if you want. There's lots to go down there. Very neat stuff. I'm not giving you financial advice, of course. Never.
Yeah. No, it's, you know, you've done your work when you get to the gematria of something. Like you're in the depths of the rabbit hole when you're looking at.
Yeah, if you say you're a conspiracy theorist and you don't know what gematria is, get out of my face, bro.
Yeah. If you haven't discovered the diligent work of the gematria people at the bottom of the rabbit hole, then you didn't go far enough. What about Catherine Austin Fitts coming out and claiming that the Bush officials, former Bush official Catherine Austin Fitts, who we know a little bit tangentially related to in many ways, have followed for many years, talked about many times. she's gone on a couple of media things lately and said that the government spent $21 trillion on an underground city for rich and powerful people to live if near extinction events happen. That's fun, isn't it?
Well, it's only fun if I happen to already be in DC when it happens and they take me with them.
Yeah, right.
It's around the world, actually. It's around the country. She
Yeah.
was in Tucker Carlson. She did like a 2-hour interview with him.
Yep.
It was actually pretty interesting interview.
She's an interesting lady.
So you watched it, Pharaoh?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so am I correct in assuming already without digging that was just like a very small part of it and maybe taken out of context, almost like, oh, that was what she was talking about the whole time? Maybe it was just like
No, she was not. No, she was not talking about that the whole time. No,
that's what I thought.
No, she was talking about just, she was talking about the basically the breakaway society, basically civilization, right? And that basically the U.S. government. I'm gonna try to summarize this. Basically, that the U.S. government, for them to be able to funnel enough money to basically fund space exploration, they had to start basically, they needed about $21 trillion, and that's accommodate for the money that's missing so far. They started this back in the 90s, and she tried to tie that with some of the mortgage fraud that she was trying to investigate back then. So that's the entryway to that whole, where this money is going, basically to fund that space exploration, which can be tied to basically some near extinction event. That can be, right? But she's also spoke about the whole digital system that they are trying to create, and she's saying that this has been in the making for decades, right? And she tried to tie it to Agenda 2030, right? And all the stuff that we talk about many times. But in general, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good interview, I would say. She's a very interesting lady, and she, she's been through a lot, right? But how much, I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts about her? Do you think she's legit?
I tend to think that she is. Yeah, I know she's put a lot of her own resources into a lot of things that productions out there in the alternative media space and independent media space, and she goes on her own dime to a lot of things, and I don't know.
She sounded like a pretty positive lady, actually. I really enjoyed it because it's and she said similar things to what I was saying earlier. It's really just trying to build from the ground up, and that she's saying that eventually they will fail of their plans of control, but there will be enough damage to the nation that we don't know how much much will be left after the rebels, right? But the people themselves will be victorious, which I actually do tend to agree with that, as I mentioned earlier.
I hope so, man. I hope so. There's been a lot of flags planted in the mass awakening over the years. Like, I've seen this feeling come and go, and I've felt it come and go a number of times, where it's just like, okay, there's some sort of groundswell here. Everybody's gonna get it all of a sudden, and it's gonna be too many people that understand for this to go down the way the technocrats and authoritarians want it to go down. But then something like COVID comes along, and I see how sheepish and non-defiant my brothers and sisters can actually be. And at this point, like, for me personally, I just see so many masses of people that are sick and obese and completely just not on a wavelength to even give a flying fuck about their country, much less themselves. So I don't know. Maybe I just
But I don't think it takes everybody to do that. I think it takes a percentage of the population. I think.
they say 13%. Sometimes that's a number
Yeah.
I've heard thrown
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
And
And
maybe
that's
that's
what I'm
possible.
hoping.
You know, I like to think that. I like to think that because a lot of these people I'm referring to are just ineffective, and sort of superfluous in a situation like that. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm oscillate up and down on the mass awakening. I'm pretty uh the wind got taken out of my sails big time by the amount of pussiness that I saw during COVID.
I agree with you 100%. But I think also seeing some of cultural the cultural revolution that they were trying to do here in this nation, right? That's failing right now. And I think positive things from this Trump administration, I think we're seeing reverse of that. And I think people themselves are they're not even like holding back anymore. I think a lot of this is going away, and people are just tired of it. And I think that's part of that shift in this whole zeitgeist, right? Um, but as you said, when it comes to convenience and your day-to-day life, how many are actually willing to stand up for freedom and actually to fight back? That is a question, because that's ultimately where everybody failed during COVID, right? A lot has chosen the convenience and the day-to-day maintaining that convenience versus standing up and saying no,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's where I think I'm hoping that at least that percentage you mentioned will be willing to stand up.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said for people who have come to that conclusion, looking backward. There's a lot of people that would do things differently now, knowing what they know now than they did back then. So um, you just have to take those lessons for the 13 percenters out there. You got to take those lessons and know how to apply them to the next great and grand psyop and attack, because there will be one, and it may not be from the same vector. It might be something totally different.
It might be a
Yeah,
white girl calling a. Never mind.
Yeah.
dude, I've seen two movies, and I forgot. One of them was Julia Roberts movie. I forgot the name of it. It's a recent one, and one of them was Sandra Bullock. Anyway, both of them are really just about just failure of the grid and cyber attacks, and I think that's
Mhm.
definitely with the simulation they have been running, right?
Dude,
That's feel that's the next piece is gonna be around that.
the one with Sandra Bullock, are you talking about the one that the Obamas produced?
Was it this one?
Was that the one where they had the cyber attack and they were like, all the planes fell out of the sky and the ship crashed onto the ocean on the beach?
Yeah, that one.
And the Teslas, they like stole all the Teslas and the Teslas all attacked everybody.
Oh no, not this one. No. It was something different. It was actually about creatures that if you see them, they turn you into a crazy
Oh,
person.
that's the bird cage or something, right?
Yeah, birdcage. Yeah.
All
There
right.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go. But it's really just going around and being blindfolded, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then feeling your way around. It was
They
interesting.
did
And
the
then
viral TikTok challenge thing over that. Remember?
Yeah.
did?
Yep.
And then the other one was the Julia Roberts one. I forgot. Let me look it up. Give me a second.
Let's see here. Yeah, that would be the Obama one. Leave the world behind.
Was
Right?
it?
This one.
She was definitely in that.
Yes, that one. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Which is really very weird ending. The way it ended was really just weird. Like almost like they just give up on the movie and just ended it.
I I think that the end of that movie, like most of it was just a vehicle of confusion or an orgy of confusion propaganda
Mhm.
and identity politic stuff and lame pointless drama. But the whole point for me of the movie was basically that if a plan like this were to be played out and this would be how the country, you know, goes into SHTF, that which is shit hits the fan, that it would be as simple, you know what I mean? Like they would severely hamper our ability to band together as locals, you know, people of a town and then a county and then
Mhm.
neighboring counties, because there would be different propaganda dropped in all those different places. So in my town, we're going to think it was the North Koreans that took out the grid. And in your town, you're going to think it was the people of Central Texas that took out the grid. And in the town next to us, they're going to say it was the Muslims. In the town over there, they're going to say it was, you know, Russians.
Mhm.
And it'll just completely,
The chaos, like
yeah, like there'll be no way. It's kind of like there's a line that what's his face? Is that who's the black dude in that movie? Is that Idris Elba or something like that? Um I don't think so. I can't remember his name. But there's a line, there's a little rant that he gives in there about how you're never going to be able to blame someone, or it's just so complicated that you know a country would never be able to figure out how to blame someone. I think that's the main threat, and I think that's why the Obamas liked this movie, because it's their way of threatening the American public with like how bad a full cyber attack could be, and how it could destroy the country, and nobody would ever know who did it.
mm, interesting. I did not know that the Obamas actually produced it.
Yeah, they have a deal with Netflix, and they make a hell of a lot of money on.
Oh yeah, I remember like $100 million. They made $100
Yeah,
million
it's
dollars, something
crazy,
crazy
dude.
shit like that. Um, but back to the point, right? Because I think when was the latest simulation they run on that grid? Um, there's a bunch of articles that came across
Which grid?
that just grid the fallout cybersecurity.
They do them all the time, statewide. I was just doing some research about this for my program coming up, my next Daily Ruckus, hopefully next week. But yeah, I was looking for one. The last time they did like a massive worldwide one, it seems like they haven't really since that Cyber Polygon World Economic Forum thing.
Yeah, that's that's interesting, because Cyber Polygon was like, I don't know, that was sort of the be all end all of it. It is so performative though. It's like I don't know. That thing was weird. It didn't seem serious to me. It seemed more like a media simulation than a, you know what I mean, an actual like.
Well, considering
But that
how
wasn't 2021,
real
right?
the pandemic was, Hesher, how real is the cyber pandemic going to
That
be?
was a media simulation as well. So in many ways, yeah. Yeah, so that movie is based on a book. Netflix was in a bidding war for it, and it was they did work with the Obama production house. I'm trying to find the name of it, but there's too many words on the screen. I give up. But yeah, very strange messaging in there, very ominous as it comes to cyber polygon style events. Ethan Hawke and Kevin Bacon. It was that was just weird, dude. That was just very strange
Mhm.
setup. And then they had
Yeah.
that Civil War movie too. Remember Civil War? Did you watch
Oh
that?
yeah, that was a weird one. I could
It was
not
right
finish
around the
that
same
movie.
time, like the big
I
movie season of
yeah,
23.
I could not finish that movie.
Oh, it was
Well,
awful.
didn't the country just experience a complete blackout?
Yeah. Yeah. How long was that? That was in Spain, right? How long was it out?
Spain
Oh,
and I think
Spain, yeah.
Portugal as well. Yeah.
Yep, yep.
You think that was a test?
I always lean toward that.
They said that it was not a cyber attack, and now the speculation, of course, is they're like, well, it's the shitty DEI fake climate change windmill policy, whatever you call that
Buy
shit.
that either, man.
I don't know.
No,
I think they pushed a button and said, let's see what happens.
that's right.
That seems to
That-
usually be the case. I mean, when we had that big outage on the East Coast here in the United States a year or two ago, they claimed it was a cyber attack, but really they did get a ransomware, but they're the ones that turned it off. They're the ones that, they powered that stuff down. It wasn't like a virus came in and it just stopped working.
Or one time it was like a squirrel, right? A squirrel took a whole country out, right?
That was a monkey, wasn't it? It was a monkey.
A monkey. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
It's always finger pointing, and but you don't know who really did it. It's whoever they say did it, right?
Yeah, like how would you really know unless you worked there or something, or even then? I mean, look at Stuxnet, man.
Let's ask AI.
Then we go all the way back to Stuxnet and Iran and shit like that. I mean, Fancy Bear, Cozy Bear, Vault 7. I mean, every time we turn and see one of these things, it's like, oh, great. This is clearly stagecraft, statecraft, propaganda, psyops, and or black ops, and there's a narrative attached to it, and I don't know where to go from there. Just do I believe it? Probably not.
So talk about psyops. Did you see the executive order that Trump signed and all the propaganda they pushed? It. Oh, he banned gain of function research.
Yes, dude.
And yeah, that this is a perfect example of like people not even trying to do just simple due diligence to see what's actually written in it, and then they just running with it. So number one, he did not ban anything, right? He basically he did not shut it down. He just put restrictions on some countries, right? And he put some oversight.
The first relates
That's
to
it.
gain of function research.
Yeah, let's I got the clip right here. Let's check it out.
The first relates to gain of function research. Gain of function research is a type of biomedical research where pathogens are adulterated, viruses are adulterated to make them more potent or to change the way that they function. Many people believe that gain of function research was one of the key causes of the COVID pandemic that struck us in the last decade. What this executive order does, first of all, it provides powerful new tools to enforce the ban on federal funding for gain of function research abroad. It also strengthens other oversight mechanisms related to that issue and creates an overarching strategy to ensure that biomedical research in general is being conducted safely and in a way that ultimately protects human health more.
It's a big deal. It could have been that we wouldn't have had the problem we had.
A lot of people say that, sir.
If we had this done earlier. Thank you.
Yeah, and guess what? He's talking about it being funded by actual U.S. government, direct U.S. government, right? But we know a lot of this gets funded by just black money, right?
Or it goes through NGOs. It goes through
Yeah,
NGOs and
exactly.
all this other shit. And what is
So
it?
in this case, it completely bypasses that EO. Like this EO is just useless in this case.
Yeah,
isn't this supposed to make America great again for gain of function? They're like, we don't want the funding going to foreign gain of function. We want that money to stay here on our own gain of function.
Right. Like they're talking about like you're not going to mention Fort Detrick, guys. You're not going to mention Fort Detrick, where some of the craziest shit that we do here in America, that under military contract using our own tax dollars to do supposed gain of function research, which I don't really think is a thing, but that's neither here nor there. It's just about the money routes. That's all I took from that is we're going to change the money routing.
That's it. That's exactly what it is.
It doesn't change anything.
Where's the money go? Oh, ask Catherine Austin Fitz.
Just rebranding.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll have to. I'll have to read that executive order in its entirety to truly say, but just from their little once over there, if that's their elevator pitch on that one, I don't think this one does jack shit.
No, I asked Grok to summarize it to me, and it gave me pretty good summary of the 3 points in that executive order. That's just something AIs are good at.
Yeah, great summaries.
Great summaries.
I always follow up anything that the AI tells me with, "Are you sure?"
Yeah. Did you double check?
Are you, yeah.
You'd be surprised how many times it catches itself.
Yeah, no, I absolutely 100%. 100%.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Apparently, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to ask a chat, one of the LLM, write me a prompt to get excellent. So you're supposed to use AI to write a prompt to then use in the AI to get better results. That was the other thing I didn't mention earlier.
Oh, that's so meta.
Yeah, that's pretty neat, apparently.
Yeah. Make sure I ask the question properly. Could you rephrase my own question for me, please?
Yep.
To you.
I've had better luck actually recreating images that way by taking an image that I want to recreate and getting a description from an AI, because the AI goes into this big long description about what it's seeing, and then I'll plug that into my prompt for the image generator, and the results are much better than me just saying, I want a picture of a box sitting on a table. If I take a picture of a box sitting on a table, it goes into great detail about everything in the picture. So, and then that's the kind of the results you get. So there's something to that reverse engineering. But at what point it's just nothing but the AI training the AI. At some point, the input feed is going to come to a stop, right? And then what are we getting? Just like rehashed garbage and hallucinations, because that's going on. Anyways.
Yeah, totally.
Speaking of hallucinations and people and money disappearing, what's with this Shiloh Hendricks chick? Speaking of psyops.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh my God.
I have a-
Do you want to talk about that?
It's pretty big news. I guess we might as well touch it for a second.
I find it interesting because tribalism has returned. Like, we've got this African American high schooler who's stabbed to death a white dude and is getting, over like $800,000 on his Give, Send, Go or GoFundMe or whatever. And then this girl wings out the N-word sort of, angrily at the baby park. And now she's getting threats as though like you're not allowed to say that word or something like that. I mean, socially you're not, but legally you live in America. If you choose to, you can, I guess.
She's allegedly getting threats, Hesher.
Yeah, she's allegedly getting threats, and she's up to what, $600,000 now? And
Oh, yeah. It's,
Holy
$600,000. And you wanna hear my conspiracy theory? It's all just basically made up.
Yeah.
It's a whole arranged situation between her and that other dude that filmed her. And you're just a sucker in there that they're just prying on you. That's my guess.
People wouldn't do that, mystical pharaoh.
crazy?
What are you talking about?
I know, right? It's not that it didn't happen before.
How come we can't think of psyops like this? We need to commit better psyops, man.
I know, right? No, but seriously, like it's just crazy to think that someone is just gonna go pay like someone like that money. Like it just, as you said, it's just tribalism, and it's emotional, like gut reactions. It's crazy.
No, it's nuts, dude.
Until we really clear all this emotional trauma that everybody's going through, I mean, we're not going to be able to move forward. It just you're going to be able to be used, because this is how they're going to be able to always steer you one way or the other.
Another strange phenomenon that hit the news feeds across the past 2 weeks since the last time we gathered for a conclave is something to do with 100 men or gorillas or one gorilla.
I know one gorilla.
Is that one gorilla versus?
I thought it
men?
was Bonnie Blue versus one gorilla.
Oh my God!
But
that's wrong, man.
I know. But yeah, I guess it's one good thing AI is good at doing simulation of
some
who's gonna win, one gorilla versus 100 men.
Some terrible global, someone who's really bad at being a good global citizen put this up. Me and the gorilla after realizing we share a common enemy.
Nice. I need the link to that.
That's really
that's
good.
great.
And can you please put that in the chat? I need the link to this.
Yeah, I'll put that in the chat
So
room.
is this what is up with these things? There's always one of these, like, what was it the one time about the chick in the, you're gonna run into a man in the forest or a bear? Remember that shit?
Oh yeah.
Is that one? Is that what this is? Is this one of these? Is the dress blue or green or whatever it was, or brown? Just why these stupid little social, like, distractions go viral out of, like, nowhere? Are these type of things planned, or are these just like the random stuff that happens?
I think it's a random stuff. It happened, but I think it's intentional because it's distraction. I think actually during that Hendrix chick thing, something actually was happening around. I forgot what it is, but there
And then it
was
worked.
some,
It worked.
and it did work because everybody, what they were talking about on freaking Twitter was that instance. It's crazy.
I think that's when Trump was signing that executive order. No.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he bragged, by the way, as part of his celebration of the first 100 days, like, nobody has signed as many executive orders as this guy. And I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. Like, not that long ago, that was like, you're supposed to be like, what the fuck's up with all the executive orders? Like, now you're like, I'm proud of it. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Does he even read those EOs?
No,
or he just takes
no.
a
Did you
summary?
notice that he always has somebody explain in great detail what he's signing, and then he always says the same thing when it's very big. It's a big deal. He always calls everything a fucking big deal. You guys notice this? All of them, without fail.
And he always leaves you waiting for a next big deal. He's like, "Oh, I'm going to release something tomorrow or later next week. It's huge. It's going to blow your socks off." And I'm always just like, what was it this week? Was it you're reopening Alcatraz? Is that what you teased me with last week? Like, I'm not sure which bombastic thing it is you're doing that was the big thing I should be looking out for this week. It's hard to keep up, man.
Well, he teased an announcement which was announced today, but yesterday everybody was sitting on the edge of their seats wondering what the F this guy's going to drop next. Is it going to be sneakers, Bible, Trump steaks? Because he's all, we're going to have a really huge, it's going to be, it's as big as it gets. Those were his words. He said that this announcement he was making today is as big as it gets. So I'm going to take him for his word. So that means that after today, nothing is going to be as big as his announcement today. What's his announcement today? Oh, yeah, they fucked around with the tariffs and some trade deal with Britain. And now we're going to be paying a higher tariff to Britain than we did before. So exciting.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It's as big as it gets.
Yeah. When I heard this, like, the announcement, I was like, it's gonna be just bullshit. It's
It sure felt that way. I mean,
yeah, it's just
your bullshit detector was correct, sir.
Yes.
Yep.
What about 4chan? You guys hear about 4chan?
What's up with 4chan?
So 4chan was hacked, its databases dumped, and moderators exposed in the last week or so.
They definitely need protect. They should probably get a Kickstarter campaign going or GoFundMe.
Yeah, really. They got taken down by a rival image board hacking group. Databases dumped, mods doxed, proving that some of the mods were federal agents, glowy Fed boys like we.
There you go. Been saying that forever.
Yep. So 4chan gets hacked. All the moderators
shocked.
The moderators docked, and guess what? Some of them are using .gov emails.
How stupid you need to be to use .gov email? Like, come on, just better cover up, you know?
Yep. I think servers might have got nuked too. Okay, this person says some funny bits of the 4chan hack I haven't seen mentioned yet. The hacker managed to gain root access because the site runs on a version of FreeBSD that was last updated in 2016. A non-insignificant portion of the janitors/mods that were doxed used .edu emails, which means they're universities, which means they're probably attached to government contracts and or NGO contracts or doing stupid research like making little hate maps funded by the SPLC or the ADL or some shit like that. It says they managed to dump the source code. Almost the entirety of 4chan is badly formatted, mostly uncommented. 10,000 plus line file called imgboard.php. Some functions, like the one that makes a new post, are over 2,000 lines long. I'm not a PHP programmer, so I can't make heads or tails of any specifics, but this code base is a complete disaster all around. It's easy to see why zero work has been done on the site since Moot left. It is disgraceful. The hackers leaked the source code for the site and claimed to have the IP addresses behind every post, the identities of all moderators, and it seems it got hacked because it was running on software that was a decade out of date. So 4chan, wow, that's not not a good look, but not surprising. Fits right in line with what we've suspected for the longest time. .edus and .gov emails. Whew. Well, RIP 4chan. Is it done? I don't know. I don't go there. I don't visit there, but I found that to be highly entertaining news right there.
It's okay. I mean, all the good stuff already trained the AI, right?
All the glowy Fed boy responses and the liberal commie responses from the EDU accounts. Yep. So that was just fun. I thought that was some fun drama right there.
Yeah, for sure drama.
Speaking of fun drama, you got anything else? Because I'm about spent. You guys, you want to?
Oh, I got some fun drama in our state here of Texas, sir.
Oh yeah,
your favorite Professor Xavier wannabe governor. What's his name? Craphead Abbott. Yeah. So I guess they want to make it illegal to make like political memes and stuff here, like serve jail time if you make a meme that's not like without a label that says you didn't get permission to do. What is the deal? You probably paid attention to this, yeah?
Just a little bit. I mean, honestly, it was so ridiculous to me. I was just like, "What? What are you talking about?"
I think it's already a law now, isn't it?
See you in
Oh
court.
shit!
I don't know.
I'm in trouble then.
I think so. Let me check. I thought that they actually made it a law.
I'd say good luck with that one, you guys.
Yeah.
How are you going to wield that? Who are you going to?
Texas House passes bill requiring more transparency in political ads. No, that's not.
So I guess what it means, they want you to put a label on it that like so if you're going to make a meme that is so what qualifies as like being political? Does it have to be specifically about a can? So does that mean like literally you cannot criticize the governor in a political meme unless you put like some sort of disclaimer or you violated the law? I don't get it.
It doesn't make any sense. Like how would you even do that? Let's see. Greg Abbott, meme law. Newsweek. Has Texas banned political memes? Here's what we know. So out of dreaded Newsweek here, let's see what they have to say.
This was written by AI.
Okay, so it passed the House, but it did not pass the Senate yet.
Okay, so yes, passed House Bill 366, which would make it a legal requirement for a digitally altered media to be labeled such if it is used by a candidate or campaign group that spends over $100 on political advertising.
So it seems not everybody then.
Yeah, it's just for people that spend money on political advertising. So,
but I thought this was America.
What if I want to spend over $100 on political advertising and make memes? Like, what if I want to do that? Maybe I support this. Like, what the fuck? How about we
a little tone deaf and weird timing and why?
How about we all get a a check for $5,000 for criticizing candidates. How about every single one of us Americans that criticizes a candidate gets a big fat fucking check? How about that?
I want mine in Trump coin, please.
Yeah. Dollar bill, Trump dollar bill, give me that. Put it in my crypto wallet.
He's really after that dinner.
I think there's some. I think I can change his mind. I really do.
I'm gonna dump all my Dogecoin. I'm gonna turn it into Trump coin. I'm in.
Yeah, I'm gonna swap out my Pepe as soon as we're done here.
Yeah, I got 10 million Doge.
So speaking of the economy, there is one last big news story, something we definitely need to address before we all have to deal with it. So in case you didn't know, we're about to see some empty shelves hitting the stores, people. And it's not thanks to a fake pandemic or whatever the hell happened last time. But similar to what happened last time, you're probably going to see bare shelves again. It's because of these tariffs. Because these crazy high tariffs, especially on like imported goods coming from China. When's the last time you checked like what you buy at the store and what's inside your house and what the label says? Guess where it was made and where it came from? From China. So everyone's been starting to slowly come out and warn people that, okay, this is going to affect the supply. And the more the media's been talking about this, the more people are checking their stores and they're going, ha ha, you stupid dumb fuck. I got nothing. There's plenty of eggs and plenty of toilet paper. Like, people, this is like a tsunami effect. Okay. It's like the shit that's in the stores is the stuff that's in the warehouses that's already stocked. The shit stopped coming in. Okay. So in like a week from now, you might notice, oh, how come the toy shelves look empty? 2 weeks from now, you might be like, huh, that's weird. There's like not as many clothes here as there was last time I went shopping this time. By the time the kids are back in school, you're really going to fucking notice. So please pay attention to that. If there are key things, important things, pharmaceuticals, a lot of these things depend on import. Like the damage is already done. And we saw what happened during the pandemic. So I'm just giving everybody a fair warning. And this is news. And this is what people are talking about. And of course, they're blaming Trump. Of course, but you know.
Well, so there is only few. There are few people in mainstream media that brought this up, but I don't know how much I trust that, to be honest.
I think just pay attention. I think you're going to see the effects of this, and I don't think they don't want everybody to run out and panic.
They're saying it's going to be 6 weeks. So let's.
Well, Trump just did the Meet the Press thing with that lady. I keep forgetting her name now. Whatever. She's the DEI hired running Meet the Press, right? And in his interview, he's all like, "I'm just saying it's going to be paid. Like the sweet little baby 11-year-old girl doesn't need 30 dolls. Maybe she can just have one doll or whatever he says, right?" So they're already really prepping. I think it's going to be a tight toyless Christmas this year. I think Trump canceled Christmas, kids. I'm sorry.
Which you know what? I think it's not a bad thing. You know what?
No.
Why do we need to go out and buy some Chinese cheap shit and just spend our money on useless shit?
No. Before you go there, I agree, but we live in this stupid consumer economy.
I know.
So it's going to affect the economy because there's going to be stores that are going to close, people losing their jobs.
That's right. It's going to affect. We know that, but that's part of why you should really give that message to the people in the right way. And I don't think it was done the right way.
Free T points out the important one that I wanted to point out. When I learned that how much shit that from Lowe's and Home Depot is heavily dependent on foreign shipments coming in, I mean, that affects other, like now you can't build shit. Now you can't go start that business plant. You know, like, so again, the same kind of knockdown ripple effects that we saw thanks to the pandemic is all I'm saying is that we're going to start witnessing again. It's just for a different reason. That's all.
But you know what? It is the same disruption of the supply chain that we saw before, and they did not act to fix it. And it just has to get done. Why the hell do we have to import freaking nails from China or Europe?
Well, this is why Trump is pushing for manufacturing to come back to America, because obviously across the decades we've pushed it all away. But that's not an overnight fix. The Apple guy was saying, like, do you guys realize what it's going to take to if we made an American iPhone, how long it's going to take us to make it and how much it's going to cost you? I mean, it's just shocking. It's absolutely shocking.
No, I know that. But I think I think maybe it's we just have to stop buying stuff for a while.
Was
Save your money and buy Trump coin so that you can go to dinner with him.
yeah, there you go. Well, you know, a lot of people already buy American. A lot of people that listen to this show at least do their best to buy American, and um a lot of those companies are getting fucked too. You know, it's like we're already like bending over basically backward and taking more out of the wallet to not buy Chinese shit. And now these vendors are getting hit with it too, you know, just by virtue of how much it costs to get their materials. So it's, you know, and that's when it sucks. But then you see like, you know, Walmart sales are down. It's like, woohoo, yeah, who fucking cares? You know, good, big deal. But it's just so like spread right now with like where the opportunities and where the downfalls are. It's just it's a little chaotic, man.
Oh, absolutely, it is chaotic. Um,
Seems to be the name of the first 100 days is a lot of chaos, man. Very chaotic, which, you know, is I guess probably a leftist talking point, but I mean, you know, it is chaotic. It just is.
It has to be so that we can get the order ob chaos.
Yeah, right. I mean, when it
well,
comes right down to it.
but think about it. They like the last 40 years, the damage that was done, and it's not just the last 4 years. It's even before that, right? But
Yeah.
the last 4 years, the amount of damage that was done to us. So any course correction has to look chaotic. But again, this is where, in the beginning, where I said he failed because he did not prime and he did not come out and talk to people, because that should have been better messaging, like to reduce the chaos and even to gather support of people when things get tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, none of that. No, you know, just bombasticness and
Yeah, that bombastic is not gonna work in times like that.
yeah, and the shock and awe, you know, the intentional shock and awe on the political left. The other side is just like, you know, it just raises the polarization, the atomization, the political anger between the two sides moving forwards. You know, it's not a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys. Well, let's call it a show. Let's call it a show unless we're missing anything else. And I got a
I
couple
think
of
I'm good. I'm good with that.
All right. Well, let's see here. We'll go around the room. Start with you, Mystical Pharaoh. Save rounds, final thoughts, anything you want to throw out here before we shut this episode of Boiler Room down. It's been a pleasure to have you here tonight, to be back in the Boiler Room with you guys, man.
Thanks, man. Good to be back, and hope everybody enjoyed today's show. And I'll see you guys soon.
All right.
Thanks,
Mystical Pharaoh. There he goes. Ruckus, over to you. Save rounds, final thoughts.
To put a feather in the cap on some of the things we've been talking about this evening, I'm going to quote the Bible. Yeah. 2 Corinthians 11:14, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. Yes, Pharaoh mentioned that I was very skeptical of the Trump administration because I'm skeptical of all power, of all government, of all politicians. So, because these people, in order for them to do the most damage, the most evil, to be the most wicked, they have to appear to be the most loving, most light-bearing, most friendly, helpful, like thing. And he's got that cult of person. I mean, like, there was a time not even that long ago where it seemed like, holy shit, like I feel like I'm in a very small camp of people who don't trust this guy at all, where because like he'll do some good things and like, well, okay. So we got close to a point where I'm like, oh my shit, oh my God, almost everybody likes this guy and what he's doing and what he's saying. And that's very scary. I prefer it when like they're all, oh, what are you doing? I like the people with the Trump derangement syndrome. I like people going off the hinges and calling him Hitler for no reason, because now that you have a reason to accuse him of doing things that Hitler did, you can't, but anyways, I just wanted to bring that up. I'm all over the place this week. I do my stuff Monday nights on Weaponized News. But tomorrow, tune in. I'm going to be on a podcast. Let's see if I can pull this up here. called the Third Rail Podcast. This is hosted by our friend Nature Boy. So I'm going to be on his podcast. You can find him on X, Rumble. I don't think he's on YouTube. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's not, but he might be on Odyssey. But check him out on Rumble. Check him out on X. It's the Third Rail Podcast with Nature Boy. It's NBN Naughty by Nature. Nature Boy is his username on X, and I will be there tomorrow night live. It's a panel discussion. It's a fun thing that he does. He has a bunch of people on, and they pass a stick, a virtual talking stick, and if I get the stick, I get to flap my gums for a while and do my thing. So it's a good podcast, good group of folks, and check it out if you can. That will be 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 7 p.m. Central, our time, Hesher. Thank you so much. It was a great show. It was fun doing this. We almost hit 3 hours. How about that? Until next time, God bless each and every one of you, and may God save this republic. Ruckus out.
All right. Thanks, Ruckus. It was great to be back in the boiler room with you guys tonight. Glad Mark Anderson was able to join us. Thank you, Pharaoh. Thank you, everybody out there on X, YouTube, Rumble, for hanging with us tonight. Great to see you in the chat rooms. Very active tonight. Appreciate that. Please hit the like button and the subscribe buttons and all that good stuff. We appreciate that. Shout out again for the tip there. We got in the swear jar. If you want to support us, we got support links in the descriptions below and on the website. Our website is alternatecurrentradio.com. And we will be back with you probably for Sunday Wire coming up this Sunday. And we're doing some changes over at the Pulse. I'm still broadcasting at the Pulse, but I've had taken a break for the last week or so here. They're changing the website up a little bit too. So look for me over there. I'll be back as soon as the links are up and ready for me again over there at the Pulse. Thepulse.today is the website, and we'll see you for Sunday Wire here at Alternate Current Radio on Sunday. And that's it. We're out of here. We'll see you next time for another edition of Boiler Room.
That's it. Go ahead and run. Run home and cry to mama.